annual Micro Four Thirds meetup for 2026. And I'm so excited. I have a lot of great guests lined up today. You probably saw them on the thumbnails, and it's hard to believe it's been 8 years. It's just, I mean, it was probably about 8 years ago that we all kind of really started to get to know each other. But since then, everyone's really expanded and grown their community, and we have such a wonderful community here for the Micro Four Thirds, and it's more exciting than ever for me and us as a community to be in this system. And I want to kind of catch up with everyone. We haven't really spoken much since last year. They've all been so busy, so I'm excited to hear what they have to say about Micro Four Thirds for 2026. So and at the end of the stream, we're also going to have an open Q&A. So if you have any questions, try to save them towards the end. It's going to be hard for me to kind of track them in the chat section if you start asking now, but we'll catch up at the end. So all that said, without further ado, let's go ahead, and I'm going to bring in Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Hey, I'm very well. Thank you for inviting me. And like you said, I can't believe it's been 8 years already when we first met. Digitally, I'm really hoping one day we're going to do a face-to-face, and that would be really amazing.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing I have to say though, how do you keep your youth? You look exactly the same as 8 years ago. On the other hand, I seem to have aged quite a bit.
No, you look fine, Jimmy, and I was old 8 years ago. That's why I haven't changed. I'm still old.
You found the fountain of youth, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, and then it's great to have you back, though, Jimmy. And like you said, in 8 years, I'm proud to have you as my friend and colleague here in the Micro Four Thirds community. And you've been doing terrific work, and it's been a great 8 years, and I look forward to the next 8.
Yes, absolutely. If I can be half as good looking as you, I'll be really happy.
Oh, please. And Emily, how are you?
Hello, how has it been 8 years? I can't even believe it. I'm very well. Today's Super Bowl day and my team's actually playing, so I'm super excited, and I'm always happy to chat to you.
Awesome. And it's great to have you back every year. And Emily, you're like one of the original Micro Four Thirds annual meetup people. And every year, it's just so great to have you back. And I'm always excited. It's just such a thrill. Like I've always said, every year, it's such a joy to watch your channel. And you bring so much joy to the Micro Four Thirds system.
I try.
Is the best way I can put it. So I really love having you here and back every year. And then let's see, we have Marlene. How are you, Marlene?
I'm great. How's everybody?
Doing well. And Marlene, you just started with us last year, I think, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'm the newbie in the group. So
yeah, but how long have you been shooting with Micro Four Thirds?
Since 2012.
Okay, so about the same as at least me. I started. I started in 2015 myself, but yeah. And Marlene, I kind of picture you as the more pragmatic, educational type, and I know that's your background.
Boring, yes.
No, but we all have our own community and viewers, and we all connect in different ways. And like I said, I started out very much like that, very pragmatic approach to using cameras, Micro Four Thirds cameras in particular. Now I just jibber jabber for a couple hours every week, but but it's great to have someone like you still out there bringing sort of the more pragmatic approach to the Micro Four Thirds community and photography in general. So it's great to have you with us.
Great to be here.
Let's see. Oh my goodness, we have Peter. Hey Peter, how you doing?
Hello. I'm doing fine. How are you? And
so good to see you.
Thanks for organizing this again. This is probably one of the highlights. And I had to admit that when I did not get the email, I checked my old emails. And when did you send last year? And I was a little bit worried, but then it came. I was very happy.
Oh, it's my fault. I was a little late this year.
No problem. But to be honest, I was a little bit worried that this is going to happen, and if I'm in.
Of course you're in. Every year you'll be in, Peter, because
And
you've made
there's one thing I want to say to Emily. You're a real football lover, probably, and you're gonna watch. But do you know that I've won the football championship here in Finland in the 80s? I was in the
Really?
championship team. Yeah,
That's so cool.
that's about it.
I love
Yeah.
that.
wow, who knew? And Peter, you look great too. I mean, I know Jimmy.
Thank you.
It's and you've again made such a huge contribution to the Micro Four Thirds community, particularly in your earlier years with YouTube, and you continue to do
especially
so
earlier.
with your photography. Because gear doesn't matter when with the kind of channel that you kind of evolved into, and it's awesome to have you out there teaching the photography side and composition and giving us all the tips every year. You've been great as well, and it's always an honor to have you back every year, of course. And I look forward to
Thank
another
you.
8 years
Thank you very
having
much.
you back every year. So don't worry, you will be here every year with us.
Great to hear.
Awesome. And there is Robin Wong.
Hey,
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me again. And like Peter, I also started to get worried if this is going to happen at all. Just when I was about to poke you to ask if everything is okay, you sent us the email. So just nice. Very good timing. Very happy to
I know.
be here.
I'm sorry. I know we normally try to get the emails out in early January to prep for late January, February, but I don't know. I'm just getting older and slower, I guess.
No.
Time just flies and it's been particularly cold for me. I just realized that I'm hypersensitive to cold weather based on some other symptoms I'm having. I didn't know. They said, yeah, usually people that are hypersensitive to cold weather have these kind of symptoms. I'm like, oh, good. So I don't have to go to see the doctor. But anyhow, all that aside, Robin, you know, every year you continue to show that you're the happiest man on earth.
Yes.
I try.
You know, you just smile and smile and smile. It's just, ear to ear, every day, every year. It's awesome. And you make everyone so happy. I think that, you just want people to get out there and shoot. And that is your primary message. It feels like is, at the end, go out and shoot, right?
Enjoy photography. Yes.
Yeah. So it's great to have you back, and I look forward to having you back every year as well. So don't worry, everyone. It may get later and later every year, but I'm gonna host this for as long as I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So,
Sounds good. Sounds awesome.
yeah. So I wanted to sort of check in on 2025. What kind of year it's been for Micro Four Thirds in general. What were the sort of the biggest hits or wins, or what was exciting about Micro Four Thirds in 2025? So let me go back to Jimmy and sort of get your thoughts on where you think how Micro Four Thirds progressed in 2025.
Okay. Well, I think a platform as a whole, we have seen some slow movement over the years, but I think 2025 has shown significant improvement in multiple areas. Owen in particular is really making push by launching a couple of new cameras and some new lenses. All of them are proven to be quite a big hit. It's not just about the Micro Four Thirds community, but so many people have seen the new lenses in particular has moved into the Micro Four Thirds system very first time because of that lens. So I see that they've done really, really well. I think overall, it really helps the overall community by also spreading the message again, ones that people may not have heard of Micro Four Thirds before, finally taking a look at it and also get to try it. And I've seen so many activities now in trade shows, in camera shows and photography shows, all up and down the country, in the UK at least. They are really making an inroad, and many people are going to the booth and try out the gears for the very first time. And I was there physically witnessing it, so it's actually good to see.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always great. I don't get a chance to go to the trade shows as often, but I can tell you from my experience in the field, particularly for birding and wildlife, I always see OM system photographers out there, and I see a lot more of the 150 to 400 out there. I think possibly maybe the 50 to 200 brought some awareness to that as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely the lenses they introduced this year were, the 50 to 200 in particular, I think really put a spotlight on the OM system cameras or Micro Four Thirds in general. Um, how about you, Peter? How do you feel about, or what did you think about for Micro Four Thirds in 2025?
Well, to be honest, I haven't been following that closely, but I think what the OM system did with the OM3 was magnificent, and especially I like it because it looks exactly like the old M1 from
Yeah.
early 70s, and it's when you put them side by side, apart from the lens, you can't tell the difference, and I think, and I think that is
Yeah.
that is something that they are kind of catching up with the retro thing, because the retro type cameras are selling quite well, and I think they did a very good job on that. And I had the chance to test it for a little while in March last year, and I really liked it. And the funny thing is that I'm so used to using the OM system, Olympus cameras, that it was just, I just took it and went out and got some really good shots. And the funny thing is that I only used it for a couple of weeks, and I still have, most of my best shots were shots with that. So I got thinking that, what should I do? But no, I haven't really used Micro Four Thirds that much. But I don't know. You are going to talk about the future. I'm not sure if it's okay to say about it that what they should do, which what they should do, was we've been talking probably almost all 8 years that this type of rangefinder, like the Fuji XM5, for example, the rangefinder style is very popular, and the retro style. But then I think we all agree that Pen F Mark II should be launched as soon as possible, because I think they're missing out on the bandwagon of Fuji the X100 and Ricoh and all that type of cameras.
Right. What do you think about?
That's a pity.
Let me sort of pull off to Emily on that about the Pen series in general. Since you try so many cameras and you just love, I think you have more cameras than all of us combined here.
Yeah, I've gone from saying I'm a camera collector to camera hoarder, because I think that's more accurate. And a viewer sent me this, and I'm obsessed with it.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Words to live by. Yeah, I love the Pen F. The only thing that ever is sort of a downside to that is the way that it's engineered. I don't think there's a way to ever make it weather sealed. But then there's a lot of Fujifilm cameras that aren't weather sealed that are really popular. And I've literally just bought one yesterday.
All right, congratulations.
Yeah, I traded in my original OM1. I swapped it for this because I just don't use the OM1 so much anymore, because I use the OM3. And I forgot how small the Pen F is and how wonderful it is. And I would love to see a new version.
Yeah. So what do you think for 2025? And I think I already know, but what do you think was the big win for OM systems or Micro Four Thirds in 2025?
So for me, as a tiny camera enthusiast, or at least a stylish camera enthusiast, there's been a lot of flagship cameras in recent years, like the G9 II and the OM1 Mark II, that are just really, really cool, but not like, you wouldn't want to take them out as an everyday carry. So having the OM3 that's a little bit more stylish, but has all the features as well, it's just brilliant. I wish it was a bit smaller, but I'm glad that it's at least sort of stylish and retro and tapping into some sort of Fujifilm vibes for sure.
Right. Yeah. It's become my favorite camera by far. And like you, I only used OM1 for my paid work, like when I do some jobs, because I have all the custom presets programmed in my phone for it. But yeah, I could easily use the OM3 for everything. But that's awesome. And let me come back to you, Marlene. What do you think were some big wins for Micro Four Thirds, or what were your favorite things that happened with the Micro Four Thirds community in 2025?
Well, I definitely think the story is OM systems and those big lenses for birding and wildlife. I mean, and I don't really have access to those. I find they're very high priced and they're huge. Yeah. So I tend not to gravitate towards them. And I'm mostly a Lumix shooter, although I do have the original OM1. And I take it out birding. But I think that Lumix needs to jump on, before they lose their Micro Four Thirds community or users.
Yeah.
And I still, like yesterday, I went out and I take the GM1, which is, everybody hates this camera, but it's small. I sold my G100. Did I say GM1? G100. I sold my GM1 and I sold my GM5 in 2025 because I wasn't using them. Unlike Emily, I'm not a collector. I'm getting old and I don't want my people who have to clean up my office have to deal with 16 cameras to like, what is this? And so, I'm 63. It's time to start, scaling back. So, but I still shoot with the G9 II, and I still like birding with that. But I don't, I've kind of lost interest in birding a little bit.
Mhm.
And admittedly, I've used a lot of the Lumix full frame cameras, and I have access to the S9 and the S1 Mark II. And I just really love the S1 Mark II. I have to say, if I'm going to take a big camera, I'm going to take that one.
Same.
The G9 II, but I don't have long lenses. But I did consider buying a long lens for the full frame, and I just picked it up. I didn't even look through it. I went, oh, I can't do this.
Right.
I cannot take a heavy camera. So I think if Micro Four Thirds is going to survive, they need to listen to the consumers and make a small camera. Like make a good small camera. And it doesn't have to have everything. Everybody wants all the features. But, this has very few features, but it's fun. And I use it. Like I use it and I like it. But I've also ventured into the action camera world. And I think, and I'm making a video about this, so no one steal my idea. But I think that action cameras, I think that the action cameras are filling that need that people want for a small camera. If they're not into, because those cameras have different menus and different systems that young people, they get it. See, I didn't use a computer till I was 30 years old. So I'm used to the dials. I need all these little things on here. So anyway, I won't. But yes, I don't want this to go on for 3 hours. So
No, it's okay. I think I've been saying since I had my S1R and I sold it, one of my biggest regrets ever. But I've always been a huge fan of the L-mount glass. That's and the lenses are always what brings me into a system, just like for Micro Four Thirds. And I think you touched on actually one of the core strengths of Micro Four Thirds is the birding side. Because you're doing less birding, you don't mind gravitating to another camera, because full frame cameras are just a little bigger if you're just putting a normal lens. But one of the strengths for Micro Four Thirds is you can get the same reach or field of view with a much smaller lens. The same 300 millimeter lens on a Micro Four Thirds gives you that 600 millimeter equivalent, right? As opposed to just using a 300 millimeter lens on a full frame. And therein lies why I think I see so many Micro Four Thirds shooters in the field. And I think you're right about going back to the core attributes of the Micro Four Thirds system, being small, compact, lightweight, like that G100. A lot of people are asking for another GM5 or GX9. And I think this is where Lumix really should hopefully have been working on and bringing those cameras back. And with that said, Robin, I know you're a huge proponent of getting back to the smaller, lighter sort of ethos of the Micro Four Thirds system. And what did you think about 2025? Did you think the OM3 kind of met that need to some degree, or is there any other thoughts you had on 2025 for Micro Four Thirds?
I won't comment much on the OM3 because I only had maybe 1 week, 2 weeks with the camera. I did like the camera. The camera is awesome. I said that it was the most beautiful camera that Olympus has ever made. My personal opinion, right? It's so beautiful. But I can't comment on what Micro Four Thirds, or at least the OM system, has been doing in Malaysia. So when Olympus shut their imaging business and it got carved out to to be sold to JIP, and then we have OM Digital Solutions. Olympus Malaysia shut down, right? So I want to comment on what happens in Malaysia. The distribution of Olympus and OM System products came under YL Camera, which is a good thing. YL Camera is the largest camera retailer in Malaysia, all right? So they have the resources and they have the ability to push the OM System products. So OM System fell under them, and they retain some of the older stuff. Some of you may not know this. I worked for Olympus Malaysia before, so I do have some ex-colleagues with YL Camera now. It's nice seeing them thrive. They started with just 2 or 3 people in the company. I'm talking about like 5 years ago when OM System started, and now they have grown so much. They have like more than 10 people, and they have been doing so many events all over the country. And some of the largest photography events last year, like in Malaysia, the International Bird Race, which was at Fraser's Hill. And YL Camera people, they were still so kind. They include me in a lot of the things that they do. They always invite me to come along. So I tag along to the event and I observe how they did things. And I'm very happy to say that Micro Four Thirds is more visible now. I think the brand OM System in Malaysia is getting more traction. Of course, it's not exactly where we want them to be. I think there's still a lot of work to do, but it's definitely doing a lot better for Micro Four Thirds in 2025. That's my observation. How OM System and Panasonic really did, I think we will have to wait for the official market share data to come out. Hopefully soon, then we can see like the percentage. Hopefully they gain some market share. I don't know, but I'm positive.
Yeah, I think I saw a statistic, and I may ask Jimmy about this because he's a little more well-read than I am. That APS-C and Micro Four Thirds cameras combined outsold full-frame cameras in 2025 by a huge margin, almost twice as many. Which shocked me, and I don't have any references to that source. Jimmy said though that he had read about that. I don't know, Jimmy. Did you? Can you add to that particular? Or what are your thoughts on, that particular metric? Do you think that's true? And if so,
yeah, of course. I mean, I think it's interesting to see the numbers, but also I think. It's also timing as well. I think in 2025, or I can't remember exactly when the data was collected, which period it was. But I think the timing was that the full frame world was a little bit quiet at that time, so not many cameras were released. On the contrary, I think that there were a lot of crop sensor cameras came out. If you're looking at just like last 18 months, not last year, but last 18 months, there were 2 OM System cameras, and on the Micro Four Thirds size, and a ton of APS-C, whether there's going to be Ricoh, whether there's going to be the Fujifilm cameras, and there are quite a bunch of cameras came out. And it boosts sales because they are new. And on the opposite side, the full frame world, there weren't that many. There was the Z6 III, and there was the from the Nikon, and the Sony only towards late last year that they really introduced R6 III. So those data wouldn't be included. So like even though I know the R6 III was selling quite well, so I think it's timing. So, but it's certainly encouraging to see that crop sensor is gaining some momentum because for the past God knows how long now, 5, 6, 10 years, the people has always been raving about full frame, and then slowly Micro Four Thirds or any crop sensor formats are becoming less importance, or people paying less and less attention to it because everyone's like, if you want to go pro, you want to get the best quality, you go for full frame. You got this like myth going, and everyone just looking towards that direction and completely ignore the Micro Four Thirds or any sort of APS-C offerings. So there is a little change there. I do personally think that there is a little bit of a Fuji effect going. The X100 is certainly kind of revived the crop sensor talking points. And even though people may not associate or even know that X100 is an APS-C sensor, people just buy for the look most of the time. But because they got into the system, they start to look for what else Fujifilm has on offer. Then they start to look at the XT3, the XT5, even the secondary market or the new market. And because of that, I think it's starting to have that positive impact on it. And being a retro thing, it's also tied into the Micro Four Thirds side. May not be in the Panasonic side, but at least on the OM side, and people are starting to look for secondhand Pen F, secondhand EM10, secondhand EM5, and so the whole thing is starting to kind of like a little snowball effect starting to roll up, and I think it's all kind of bunched because it's all about timing thing. So so that's my personal take. How well we can see this effect continue. That's another thing that we'll probably have to wait and see. And if it does roll up to being bigger, and I will be really happy to see.
Yeah, that, you know, I think, yeah, I thought about that. Like, how many cameras does Fuji release every year? You know, and how much did that contribute to the numbers that we're seeing? I certainly think the OM systems, you know, with the OM3 and the Desert Sand, the worst name ever for a color. But you know, I think a lot of these things are, at least, you know, they're shiny objects in the world of cameras, right? They're the shiny object, and it just draws your eye to them on the shelf, right? You see like all these black cameras, and then all of a sudden there's like this yellow one, sand beige or champagne, and then there's this bright silver, you know, from OM3. So at least from a, you know, window shopping point of view, I think they're kind of the shiny objects, and that's part of what's bringing some attention to them. And most of the things that I hear, let's talk a little bit about what we look forward to in 2026. You know, we've kind of touched on, you know, maybe going back to a Pen series or Pen F. You know, Marlene, you know, you talked about the G100. You know, have you seen just because I know you're not a big Olympus person, but have you seen the Pen series and the Pen F? And what are your thoughts if OM Systems sort of went into that, or if Lumix brought back you'd probably be more familiar with the GM5 and GX9. Do you have any, what's your community saying to you about those kind of cameras?
Well, I think in general, everybody wants a smaller camera, you know, unless they're into full frame and stuff. But even the S9 is a small camera comparatively, especially with, as you touched on, like the L mount lenses. There's so many third-party options now, and I think, yeah, the community. It's hard to say, but I think people do want small cameras. I mean, on every live stream I've been on every Lumix live stream, is like, bring out something smaller. And you know, it's hard to say what's going to happen, but they seem to be like kind of resistant. So, I mean, people have been asking for like, what, 3 years now? I mean, when did the G100 come out? At least 3 years, people want more small cameras. So yeah, I don't really know. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of that's really stands out. And the thing about Lumix is let's face it, they are more video focused. And I don't know if the GH7 came out last year. I forgot to say that in the last segment. Do you know if it came out last year, Emily?
It's about 2 years ago now, I think.
Yeah. So I think isn't that their last Micro Four Thirds camera?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's time, you know, it's time if they're going to stay in that stream. But yeah, I think we all want something small, compact, and we want interchangeable lenses for sure. I mean, they can make the little point and shoot zoomy zooms they want, but I think that it's smaller or easier to use. I find just to have a smaller Micro Four Thirds. Right. It'd be great if you wanted.
I love the G100, and I would love to see a G100 with like G9 Mark II specs. Maybe dumbed down a little bit because of the size. You have to compromise a little bit on some features, but just imagine G100 that's close to a G9 Mark II.
Yeah, or like you said, even a GX9, like that's a nice little camera too, or a G85 or whatever it is in Europe. Like all those are small. But the G100 is probably the smallest out of all of those. Oh. There you go. A zoomy zoom.
Yeah. So, I don't know, Peter, you know, you bought, I remember you bought like an XM5 about a year ago, even though you said you weren't going to buy another camera, you bought one. But,
did, yeah.
you know, do you think if I know the OM3 sort of tempted you because you got some of your favorite images with that shot, do you think like a new pen series, either with or without an EVF, would sort of pique your interest?
No, if there's no EVF, it won't, because that's the reason I got the Fuji X-E5, which has the EVF, and I just kind of missed that. So yes, but if there was a Pen F Mark II with an EVF with the rangefinder style and maybe the latest technology in it, I would be tempted, to be honest.
So what would you say would be like your most wish for 2026, most wish for camera or lens for Micro Four Thirds?
Well, it would be that and a fast pancake 20mm lens made by OM System, so that it actually works with the OM System cameras, because I think the Panasonic version is a nice lens, but it doesn't really work with the OM System cameras.
Yeah, it's a little bit old.
If I'm correct, please correct if I'm not.
No, you're right. You're right. You know,
Yeah.
it's fine for point and shoot type things, but yeah, it's not as fluid an experience with that pancake as it is with like a normal lens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think definitely, you know, I hear that over and again in my own community is the Pen F2. You know, and you know, take my money, right?
It was probably introduced a bit too early, and now it might be a bit too late. That's probably the dilemma, because they even had, and back in the day when they was introduced, they even had a special ambassadors for Pen F cameras that were street photographers. They had that program back then, but I don't know what happened to that, because probably it doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I can't be sure if it would be too late, but a lot of people have, kind of me included, kind of because of that, moved to another brands, and I think it's a sad, because
no, it's great to have your perspective, Peter, because I mean, you know, we are the annual Micro Four Thirds meetup, but definitely you know, it helps to have the perspective of somebody that was really, you know, all in on Micro Four Thirds and Olympus, ambassador and everything, to move on to another system. And it's not like you lost any respect for the Micro Four Thirds. I never got that sense.
No,
at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
You know, just about your job, right? Your right tool.
Well, the initial change was because of the video qualities. I just needed something more than they could deliver at that time, and it was time that I think it was before G86 came to the market. But because if that has been on the market, then I would probably could be a possibility that I was still using Micro Four Thirds.
And you know, Emily, I think speaking of the GH7, that's still an amazing camera. And I hate to say still, because it's not even 2 years old yet, I don't think. And it's crazy how fast, you know, we move on to new technology, and we feel like something has to come out every year. But what are your thoughts on, you know, for 2026, for Lumix or Micro Four Thirds in general, what do you think direction they should go in?
So I agree with what everyone said. I you know, give me a Pen F, give me a GX9 Mark II, but I think a curveball from Lumix that would do really, really well, and it's sort of Micro Four Thirds adjacent, would be an upgraded LX100 series.
Ooh.
I just think, you know, take my money once again. If you could have a phase detect autofocus, if you could have a couple of video features in there, I think that would sell so well and be sort of a good competitor towards the major Fujifilm lineup cameras. Not quite Micro Four Thirds, because, you know, it's a fixed lens, but I think it's a great series of cameras.
I can't agree with you more. I love my little LX100 Mark II, and I since bought also the Deluxe 8, which is, you know, basically a rebranded LX100. And yeah, I can imagine this, again, maybe with some dumbed down G9 Mark II specs.
Yeah, real-time LUT in there for customizable JPEGs. It would be so good for street photography, man.
Yeah. What do you think about the lack of a flip screen?
doesn't
bother me.
bother me too much if you've got an EVF. You need one or the other, I think.
Okay. All right. I know Robin probably feels a little differently though, right?
Not really. I agree with mostly what everyone said. But if you ask me what I wish for 2026 for Micro Four Thirds, selfishly, this is more of like my personal wish, would be for a flagship camera either from Panasonic or OM Digital Solutions to be about the same size as the original EM1. Right? I always say that I love my EM1 Mark II. I still use my EM1 Mark II for my jobs, but I also feel that it's slightly too large. And of course, anything after that is just too large to me, right? We have the G9 Mark II, GH7, OM1. I also feel that OM1 is a little bit too large. I just feel that for Micro Four Thirds, what makes it so special is that it's small and yet it's capable. I know that in terms of technological implementation, it might not be possible because of heat dissipation and processor and putting all the tech and everything. It might have to be a little bit larger. It needs more space to house all these things. I understand that, but I just really wish they can make it like as small as EM1. It's just such a joy to use. But on the more practical side of things, I think OM system should come up with pen cameras, whether it's Pen F Mark II or EPL 11 or any of the pen minis, any one of the pens, I think it will sell really well. If they don't want to do pen, maybe an OM10, EM10 series. I think that is due for an upgrade. Sort of like a budget-friendly, entry-level, accessible to everyone. You can't just sell a camera for like over $2,000. Not everyone is going to be able to spend that kind of money, especially in like Malaysia. We're not a rich country. Like if I were to convince someone to buy Micro Four Thirds and look at like OM1, wow, that's $2,000. Nope, sorry, I'm just going to get something much cheaper. And it's just so hard to convince people, and all the new cameras, they are not cheap, right? So they need entry-level cameras to stay competitive because everyone has it, right? Canon, Sony, Nikon, Fuji. There's something that is affordable for everyone. And at the new products, I mean, at least in the release in the past 1 or 2 years, but for OM system and Panasonic, we don't have anything new that is affordable. So yeah, I think they should really look into this.
Yeah, definitely. There's whenever I sort by best-selling cameras, it's always the entry-level ones from the other systems, you know? Because, you know, when I was first shopping for a camera, yeah, I would sort by price and see what's the most I can get for a certain price. And in 2012, when I got back, or 2013, when I got back into photography, I was looking at the EM1 Mark I, and it was $1,100 at the time.
Yes.
And then
it's
I
so
was looking at,
now, right?
yeah, and then I was looking at the Sony NEX6, and it was on sale for like $600 with a lens. And that's what I did without, you know, knowing, you know, being a total newbie to camera, shopping for cameras. So if OM Systems and Panasonic, if they could come out with a sub $700 or $600 camera, you know, that was relatively, you know, really capable, because the EM10 Mark IV is a little long in the tooth at this point. I would definitely be very happy, and I think a lot of people would be very happy. And let me just go back to Jimmy one more time about what we look forward to in 2026. I feel like, you know, we've talked a lot about going with compact cameras and things, or smaller, you know, getting a smaller camera out there. Do you feel the same about that? But also I wanted to ask you about, do you think the technology itself needs to improve? Because you've talked about this before in your own work, that you had to go to a 24 megapixel camera. But what kind of technology do you think 2026 should bring that could help Micro Four Thirds? And do you think they need to be in small compact cameras, or does that matter?
Well, I could spend 3 hours on this, but then but if I kind of trying to break it down and summarize it a little bit, I think in 2020, even 2025, 2024, I think we are now reaching to the point technologically, reaching to the point that we have everything we need as a photographer. I don't think we need anything more, and that's being frank. And I think, like, even though the new camera in 2026 come out can shoot a little bit less noise in 1600 ISO, can shoot half a frame faster, it does not make my photography any different whatsoever. You know, like, and I'm speaking from being a professional photographer for over 20 years. So, like, it wouldn't change a bit. I can still pick up a camera, EM5 Mark II, for instance. I can still shoot with that if my portrait work, if I really want to. It would not change a bit. So I have everything I needed like 12, 15 years ago. So everything we are getting now is, I don't know, for vanity purposes, for something that looks good, something that we want to collect, something we just want to play with a little bit, and or something we want to experiment with some new features and new AI stuff or whatever. Yeah. So I think technology should be secondary. I know marketing is another thing, and people are slowly realizing it. I think that is why now you see that people are not necessarily looking for the top of the range cameras or flagship cameras. They're looking for something that's good looking, something that's more fit into the lifestyle, size, and everything like that. So everything that you said there is everyone's setting is correct. You know, I think that Michael Forster should go back to his fundamentals by looking at, you know, its form factor. I think that's a really, really good thing to start with, to restart the imagination of how small a camera can be. What is a travel size camera? Because I think we kind of lost touch a little bit on that, you know, and things seems to be getting bigger and heavier and chunkier. And yeah, it may have more features, but look, I think 90% of people who buy camera these days are not actually using any of those features. It sounds good. Oh, I have the flagship camera, can shoot 60 frames per second. But do you really shoot 60 frames per second? I don't think anyone would. And I'm catching my kids playing basketball. Yeah, but you're not shooting 60 frames per second. Trust me. You know, you end up with like 5,000 images when the match is finished, and you're gonna go back and look at all those images. I bet you won't do that. So you know, I'm just coming from multiple angle, being a professional, but being also a dad. You know, and who looking after my kids, documenting my kids growing up, doing the day-to-day thing. And I mean, you know, everything is overkill these days. So now people are finally realizing it, and that is why you see people starting to go back, you know, to looking at smaller cameras now, looking at the, you know, things that will fit into the lifestyle, fit into the personal aesthetic, for instance. And all of these are important things. That's what consumer wants. Remember, a lot of people buy cameras are consumer, not necessarily a photographer or photography enthusiast. And we are looking at selling cameras. As a business, you want to sell cameras, and you need to look at what consumer wants, and because they make up for 90% of the market who buy cameras. And professional enthusiasts are the 10%. And these are people who will buy the pro lenses, buying long zoom lenses, who will spend $10,000+ onward to buy a lens. You know, normal day-to-day family won't spend that sort of money. They'll get a kit zoom lens, and that's it. They call it a day. So I think that from a business perspective, we need to kind of go back to basic and look, reevaluate what consumer really wants. And I think Michael Forster as a platform has that benefit, always has that benefit. It's a size and form factor. And they need to kind of go back to it and look at it. Okay, what can we do to recapture the imagination of the consumers? You know, yeah, I mean, Emily's doing great work in promoting those tiny little cameras, and this is exactly what we need. You know, we need people who can speak out for the format, and to emphasize, you know, the importance of tiny cameras and small camera and form factors. I think this is what we need. But technology, I think people should, by now, they should really know that, you know, it's not really everything. So because like I said, you can pick up a 2012 camera and can still make great images from it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm getting that you feel like the technology itself is kind of plateaued a bit. We might see evolutionary type things, but not revolutionary technology for 2026. And, you know, going back to smaller cameras. And I wanted to expand a little bit on, well, let me ask Marlene first real quick about the technology side and sort of the specs, you know, having more resolution, other features like the live ND, the pro capture or pre-capture, focus stacking. There's a lot of technology built into both camera systems, you know, from Lumix and OM systems. Has that carried over, you think, or do you think for 2026 they can improve on those things? Do you have any ideas there that would be, that you'd like to see?
Well, I think that like 24 megapixels is enough for 90% of the world. I mean, for me, it's not about the megapixels. I like the fun things, that's for sure. I really love the things that action cameras have in them. I put side by side my Lumix and my little Insta360 Ace Pros 2, and I can do really cool things. I went on a workshop 2 weekends ago laying on a frozen lake, and I had the Insta360 beside my S1 Mark II, and I mean, like both photos are from both cameras are great. I mean, if you have, good lighting and all that stuff, like it's like what everybody said, we've kind of peaked in that way. But I do love the fun things, and I think that Lumix, that's why I loved Lumix in the beginning, is because they had internal things, like, I know it sounds maybe hokey, but like stop motion and live view composite, and those things are actually fun. And that's the kind of thing, if you do have kids, guess what? You can get them to make a little stop motion movie on a rainy Saturday afternoon. I mean, that's the kind of fun things. And those are also things that people just do with cell phones. So you have to make sure, like, who's your market? Like, people are using cell phones. Are they going to just keep using cell phones? Or do they, if they want a camera, like my big question is, what do you recommend them? Especially if they're younger. Like younger people want that cool factor. And I think that's like, have you noticed when somebody who's under 30 years old shoots film and they get like light leaks and all that, they think it's cool. And I'm like, geez, if I handed in anything like that to a client, I'd never get hired again. Like, so all that stuff, that technology, retro mistake stuff is what appeals to people. The filters and all that stuff, that's what makes cameras fun for the younger generation. I mean, we're all over, well, except for Emily, you're a little baby, but you're having fun, right? You're having fun with all those cameras and things. So I think maybe sometimes camera companies take themselves too seriously. I mean, like the big ones, like look at how much fun people have with their 360 cameras, and everybody looks so cool. Like, like I want to look cool. So I think that is something that, like, if we want to have a small Micro Four Thirds camera, make sure it keeps all the fun stuff and add some more, like the computational features that OM Systems has in their new cameras. Built-in ND, that's a huge one. Built-in ND would be the thing, especially if you're shooting video. You want that. And because I don't want to be faffing around with filters when, oh, geez, there's a bird flying off a nest. I got it. Like me, I just push the red button and hope for the best. But if I could do a switch, if that red button also included an ND16, boom, So anyway, that's my rant.
No, it's
I wholeheartedly agree.
You and Jimmy have touched on one thing in common, and that is the companies need to connect with their buyers more, right? And have that sort of I'm not articulating this well, but cameras to most consumers can be kind of they need to be fun, and they need to have some sort of connection with the buyers.
Accessible. They need to be accessible, right?
Yeah, and accessible and affordable. And I'm going to ask Emily this question because I suspect you'd be the first among all of us to get this camera before it's released. But I heard rumors on one camera, and this is what Marlene brought up, is like this Insta360. I've talked about this in my stream about how if they could take the technology and the features that this has and put them into our Micro Four Thirds cameras, like even a simple thing like putting your hand gestures, right, to take a picture rather than setting the self timer, like the old-fashioned camera way. This brought so much innovation to photography, and there's rumors that Insta360 may come out with a Micro Four Thirds version of something like this. And also there's another camera, there's the second camera I wanted to ask you about, was the Equius or something? It's sort of a
French company.
GM5. I'm sorry?
The French company.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So maybe you can add on to this conversation about, these are two very different cameras. One is sort of going for that very strong retro, you know, GM5, Leica, sort of like a Leica GM5 have a baby, right?
Yep.
They come out with this. And then Emily, you know, what do you think about if Insta360 came out with a Micro Four Thirds camera?
So I've been daydreaming about this for a little while. I was lucky enough to go to Leica headquarters with Insta360 last year when they brought out the new like lens adapters and things. And that there was like some spokespeople from Leica where they were saying that Insta360 are a wonderful software company, but they're looking to get collaborations with hardware companies, and that's how this with Leica and the engineered lenses came along. And I thought, if only there was an alliance here that we could join. Like, you're so right, and Marlene is so right. Having the fun features from Insta360 in an interchangeable lens camera. I mean, that would be, I would be very happy if they joined Micro Four Thirds. I have no idea if they will, but it would be so cool.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Can I say something? Well, actually, I don't know if you heard the rumors that the Chinese are buying Leica, which is of course a pity for us Europeans because, well, we want to keep the stuff in Europe, but
yeah,
that's the big rumor, and that would probably mean that they will go to camera business in China. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How about you, Jimmy? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Marlene.
Well, the thing about the Insta360, you said that it's a software company, and I agree because I do find it frustrating to use at times because I can't stop that damn video. Like, have you noticed? Like, you press that shutter button, and I shot it in -20, and it's like it doesn't stop. So it's like they need to up their hardware side for sure. But yeah, that's a lot I have to say. So if they become a Micro Four Thirds, I'm hoping that they work with a company that can raise that bar, because I find the hardware frustrating at times, but the fun stuff is still there. So
yeah, absolutely. What do you think, Jimmy, about a Insta360 Micro Four Thirds and then also this Equius camera? If the two came out on the same day, what do you think would be better, or which one would you buy?
I'll buy the Esquire. I mean the French one. It's a pure photographer camera. That one's got no thrill, no AI, no intelligent mode, no computational. It's a pure breed photographer camera, with a size of a little bit bigger than the GM5. With EVF. Presumably there's no IBIS, I don't think. So it's a little bit like XM5, but in a Micro Four Thirds size. So it should be smaller than the XM5 by a tad, because it has an EVF. But aesthetically, it looks basically a love child between a Leica camera and the original GM1. Meshed together, so you got the round edges and things like that. So it looks really, really good. I mean, I would personally lean on that, and because I already use Insta360 separately as other things, and I'm also very close to DJI, which they also have a bunch of other 360 and things like that as well. So I think what Chinese does is always what Chinese does best, is features and technology these days. It's funny that we're saying this in 2026, because it used to be Japan, who have leading all the technology. But if you look at like EVs and cars and things like that, Chinese EVs are way more technologically advanced than anybody else in the world. I don't drive an EV, but I'm just saying out loud. So if you read all the documents, all the journals and everything like that, all praise the Chinese for technology. Not necessarily good to drive, but technology, they're leading because they got so much going. And you can see DJI and the Insta360, they started as a software thing. They all did that, and the hardware came afterward. DJI is quite well established now because of the drone market, but they're now diversifying quite broadly now into cinematography. They have cine cameras, they bought out Hasselblad, so they already got the imaging technologies and lenses. They now venturing into 360, trying to take some market share from Insta360. All of these are interesting to see how that play out, but I think Insta360 is still had an edge in terms of how polished their software is at the moment. It may not be perfect, but compared to DJI, I think DJI still, personally, I think it's maybe about a year or 2 years behind Insta360. And even though they may have the advantage of ecosystem, so because all their wireless mic works directly with this the camera, and Insta360 had to invent a system to work with the X cameras. So so that's the difference between the two cameras. But in terms of ease of use and how polished the software on the mobile and desktop, I think Insta360 had an advantage over DJI for now. But DJI has the resources. They're a much bigger company. They have more money to spend on technology. They could potentially, if they throw in a lot of resources into it, they could catch up fairly quickly. So it's going to be interesting to see how that play out. And don't forget, actually, both of them have license, being a Micro Four Thirds Alliance as well. So DJI actually used to use lenses from OM System. They just rebadged into a DJI brand. If you remember,
I remember the 15 millimeter,
the 15 millimeters, the 12 as well. You know, and they were Olympus lenses. They just rebranded into DJI. So it seems to me that, you know, if they really want to make something photography wise, they could. They have the capability to do so. They already have the Hasselblad in the high end market. If they really want to get into the photography market, they could potentially launch something with Micro Four Thirds to start with, and because they don't need anything else, they got so many things happening now.
Yeah, wow, that and Micro Four Thirds is an open format. You know, we don't have to worry about like Canon that doesn't let you make a lens for them. It'd be the easiest system for the Chinese, in particular, DJI and Insta360 to get into and not have to worry about getting sued, you know, a year later, like Nikon is suing them now. You know, suing Viltrox, right?
Viltrox, yeah.
So that would be awesome. I'm sorry, did you have a, Marlene? Yeah.
A little thought. The thing about those action cams is they're video focused. And I think one thing they have to do to attract more photographers is to become a bit more photo focused. Yes, you can take photos. If you've ever tried to do a burst mode with the Insta360, it's like, okay, I'm going to eat my lunch while it downloads, because it's not user friendly in terms of photography as they are with video. So I think if they want more market share from small Micro Four Thirds, or if they want to blend, you know, Micro Four Thirds with the action camera, they need to raise the bar with the photography features. And yes, you can use them, but they're just not like a point and shoot or even your cell phone camera. It's just not that easy. And yeah, that would be my recommendation to them if they're listening.
Yeah, I think, you know, the video is so good on these little action cams because there's dedicated hardware and chips, like microchips, for video. Photography, I feel like it's a more generic chip that they have to program. You know, I think that's why it takes longer as a photo camera. Is the technology is not quite the same, right? It's not like on the video side where they have, you know, hardware encoded codecs for H.265, H.264, and they can process video like this and then add all these other features. Whereas in photography, you know, you're pulling in a raw 20 to 50 megapixel image, and the processing power required, you know, out of a small, tiny, compact camera is just too much. But if they were to expand into a Micro Four Thirds form, be a little bigger, have some more room for more battery power and more processing power, I think they can get there. So,
but I don't think the image quality of the photos is as good as the image of their videos. Like I think their photo quality is, especially with people, like plastic. It's like everybody looks like a Barbie doll, whereas the video somehow looks so much better. So yeah, I hate taking people pictures, and even like I did a side-by-side with my G100 the other day and the Insta360 on a photo walk, and I was just like, oh, the photos were kind of garbagey from the
Yeah.
Insta360 by comparison. So I think
Absolutely.
they definitely, if they want to break into the market and compete with Micro Four Thirds, they got to raise the photography bar, because as Micro Four Thirds shooters, we're probably more, at least in this group, possibly more into photography than into shooting video with, you know, in general. I mean, you know, I shoot just as much video, but you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. They, you know, they're taking their video knowledge about compression, and I don't want to get too technical, but and trying to apply that to photography. So it does bring on some interesting new features, but at the same time, there's a compromise in the image quality for photography. And I, like I said, I think it's just a matter of form factor. This is just too tiny to really handle a 20 to 50 megapixel raw image in that photography requires, versus, you know, all the compression that they do for video, because these don't do raw video, right? If you want raw video, you have to go to a GH7, you know, a big massive thing. They need that bulk. But that aside, speaking of photography, Peter, you know, I don't know if you've ever tried using sort of something like this for photography, or, you know, or if this would even appeal to you, something in this form factor, like.
Well, actually, it does appeal to me, because on Monday I will have a video about that exact camera.
Oh, okay.
But the biggest problem with that is that it's totally unusable for street photography because of the horrendous shadow lag. You can basically, one person can walk across the frame, so you have to kind of press it before the almost. Well, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but other than that, I think the overall quality was pretty neat, and it can work for some things. For example, I did a lot of this 2.35:1 ratio panorama images, which was really a great thing about that camera. But if they can fix that shadow lag thing, then yeah, why not? Because I might not use it, but I can see, you know, families having that as their camera for holidays. They can, you know, take the kids playing in the water, and then they can do the sights photographing. Yes, exactly. Oh, that's a different.
Isn't it
little
cute?
bit different.
Yeah, I got this.
It
There's
is.
like a little fake Leica one.
Yeah.
This is sweet.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is why I think.
But the idea, what they did with the grips and everything, I think is a genius idea, because that well, it did appeal to me, because that they wanted me to test one, and yeah, my thoughts on that.
And I think all the work they're putting into trying to make this camera like that. I have the old grip. Emily has the newer one. I think they're.
I think the old one is better because it's. Yeah, the old one is better because there's less shadow lag, because it's mechanical and it's not Bluetooth, and also it's waterproof. You can put that underwater with that cage.
Interesting.
I find in the 12.5 megapixel mode, there's very little lag, but in the 50 megapixel one, there is both a little bit of lag when you take the photo, and then a little bit of lag when it writes the card. But in the 12.5, I don't find it too bad at all with any of the cages personally.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So like I said, I think they're putting a lot of engineering into trying to make this a camera. It's leading up to a Micro Four Thirds version.
That would be
exactly.
So exciting.
And if you look at how many people have been testing the camera, that applies or is kind of like a sign that they are, you know, wanting more people like me, for example, testing that, because they probably have something on the, you know, under them.
I know.
Or something in the way.
Why would they send me this
they
camera? I'm a photographer.
They are. They're sending it all to Micro Four Thirds users, aren't they? Have we just unearthed a conspiracy? Maybe the rumors are right.
Yeah.
They are right. I believe it is going to happen. Yeah.
So,
but it's still astonishing. But it's still astonishing that DJI hasn't done a Micro Four Thirds, because that's been rumored for like 3 years, and they haven't done anything. If Insta360 does that before them, then I think DJI has failed big time.
Maybe if they both brought something out, then a bit of competition is never bad, is it? You know, it'll push everyone forward.
Yeah.
Maybe get Lumix back making things.
I know. I would. Exactly. Or even maybe a partnership. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll never know.
Many things. There's so much potential for Micro Four Thirds because as we all know, the compromise in image quality is pretty minimal, say, versus any other format, relative to the things that you can pack into a small compact size. You know, I'm really excited for Micro Four Thirds as a format going forward for 2026. All the rumors that we're going to get, all the cameras that could potentially come out from various manufacturers. And I love OM Systems and Lumix. They make terrific cameras, but they need to get on the ball with the technology on the software side. Because, yeah, I love live ND, focus bracketing and stacking, but these are all still very traditional photography-related type genres. They need to expand into the lifestyle that people live now, the younger generation, right? And how they use cameras.
Fun.
I think that's...
They need the word fun.
Yeah, fun.
Yeah,
exactly. So
Yeah.
speaking of
Yeah.
fun, let's I want to see some of your photos from 2025, like a couple that you really liked. And, you know, we'll start, I guess, Emily, why don't you bring out a couple?
Of course, let me share my screen. I'm excited. I've just got two to show from last year, but they're two of my favorites. I understand. Let me share my entire screen, please. Okay, so can you see that okay?
Yep.
Amazing. So I am a big fan of seeing as much live music as I possibly can. And alongside that, I like to smuggle in cameras. And I smuggled this in with the Lumix GX7 with the DJI branded 15mm lens, actually. And I just think it's so interesting that I can, you know, stick something in my pocket or in my handbag and then just get in and amongst the action and get pretty good low light performance. Like, I think some of the action in this shot's really cool. And I'm so glad that I took my GX7 along with me.
Yeah, I love that 15mm. I got to get one.
Do you know, it's so good and it's so cheap as well. And I've done plenty of testing, and aside from the coating on the lens, there doesn't seem to be that much difference, to be perfectly honest. But my second shot is my favorite one from 2025 that I shot in March. And there is a fire festival in Valencia. If you've seen my channel, I talk about this all the time because it was so much fun. And basically, they just make these big wooden sort of art pieces and then set them all on fire. And there is no health and safety. I got so close. My coat was on fire. It was a great stress test. Yeah. And we happened upon this on the way home. It happened at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, the fire people, the fire engine was there, and people were throwing bits around to try and hurry things up. And the photographs I got from that, I'm so proud of. And I took this with the OM3. And what I really like about this image is I don't think it's technically perfect because, you know, I've blown out some of the fire, but I think in terms of like the storytelling and just it being a bit of a spectacle, I think I'm really, really chuffed with that.
Yeah, that's an amazing shot. I really love that one. How about you, Jimmy? What do you got for us today? What were your favorite shots from 2025?
Oh,
I got a few. Let me see if I can get that open again. Right, okay, got it. So, sorry, a few clicks here. Windows, entire screen.
that's exactly what I did. I was just talking to all the menus.
Oh gosh, yes. Okay, right. So first of all, I just need to. Can you guys see this?
Yep, we got it.
Woo!
Oh,
Beautiful.
Okay. The whole series that I have to show you guys today is from my Japan trip exactly a year ago when I was launching the OM3 at the time. So this was from the OM3, and so I was super ill. People may not know that who wasn't following me, but I was launching the camera in Japan. I was literally collapsing on the train. So it's a lot of memory from that trip, but of course in the photography also is another thing that I really enjoyed it. This is my second time in Japan, and this is in this particular shot in particular, it was actually quite a hard shot to get because this is Ginza, so one of the most busy districts in Tokyo. It can be very, very congested and a lot of traffic you can see. So to get car trails is not easy because there's so much traffic, so cars are usually stationary. So I have to time it right and to get in there in the correct timing. So I actually been to this area 3 times in 3 separate occasions just to assess the situation, to see when I can be there to get a shot when the cars are moving, while trying to capture a little bit of a twilight air kind of lighting conditions as well. So it's a lot of experimentations there, and of course, being an OM system, it has a lot of aids that we can use computationally, like the this one. I think I used the live ND, and also with the sorry, not live ND, live composite, live. So it's not a hard work, in so to speak, if you're those who are familiar with the live composite features on the OM system cameras. So you just literally see the thing built up on the screen, and you can just stop whenever you want. So it's actually a great tool to have. But it's more to do.
Before we move on from this picture, I wanted to point out I really love the clouds. How
yes.
They're also kind of painting. They almost look like a Ross painting, right?
Yeah, it's funny because this is actually an artifact of live composite. So if you use a normal ND filters, do it the traditional way, you won't get that effect. So it's actually a computational artifact from OM system cameras. But I actually quite like that effect, because a lot of my images are like that, and then it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's people that devote their, that spend a lot of time doing things like that with the clouds, with these long exposures. But the OM systems, makes it very easy with the live composite.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's really, really cool. I love the feature a lot. So maybe I'll share this one as well. I actually used this image as a case study in last year's photography show talk about the use of highlight and shadow. So this is a bit more educational rather than being a masterpiece, so to speak. But I like this image. I actually have 2 versions of it. I have the black and white and the color version, but the black and white version in particular is very good to study in terms of how to use highlight to separate your subject from the background, because especially in black and white photography, you really trying to utilize the black and the white to paint the picture, to paint it interestingly, and also manage to separate every single person in the frame is hard work, because you got so much shadow in the area, and without any sort of careful thoughts and planning, they would simply blend into the black and you won't see them. So like in this particular case, I utilized the reflective light from you can kind of see the top left corner of the image. That's the reflective light actually. So I actually essentially getting 2 suns from 2 different angles, and the reflective light is painting rim lights in every single body that separates from the shadow in the distance. So it's a very good subject to kind of demonstrate the use of light to do anything you want in black and white photography.
Yeah, that image there really lets the eye wander around the entire frame, because everything has information: the people's faces, the geometry on the painted lines on the ground, and also all of the buildings in the background are all like just have such wonderful speculars because of the way you capture the light, and it makes the photo 10 times more interesting, as opposed to, like you were saying, if you did this in a more sort of traditional black and white with less, more negative space, it wouldn't be quite as interesting or as powerful, I think.
Yes, another point to point out just fairly quickly is the use of depth of field. In this case, I choose to see everything in focus. So I actually stopped down my micro four thirds. People always complain micro four thirds hasn't got enough shallow depth of field, but in this case, I wanted more depth. I want to see everything, in a split of a second. So I stopped it down to f11 for this case. So like that's why you can see from the closest person on the right to the far ends are all in focus.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of, and that's why whenever I watch video reviews on lenses, about super wide angle lenses, everyone talks about how hard it is to compose with a super wide angle lens. And it's really not. It's really about, like what you did here, capturing everything in the scene and creating that environment, and then using the light the way that you did really allows your eye to do that right, in your mind to see what's going on, because I can look anywhere in this photo and there's a different story.
Yep, absolutely. Maybe just one last one, and I think I quite like this one. And this was in a red light district, actually, in Tokyo. I actually completely forgot the area, the name of the area, but this area is full of noodle houses and bars, and this is one of them. I just found the lanterns outside with the sign of the dishes that they offer in the restaurants, all outside the actual premise itself. Is actually casting quite an interesting backdrop, and all I needed is a person. So I waited there for quite a bit, actually, just to wait for something interesting happening. And this guy was actually looking for the restaurant, maybe to meet people, so he's stopping every so often, and I found him just crossing the crossing point just enough to frame it in between the doors in this shop. So it's kind of creating that frame there. And yeah, I just love this. And no particular reasons. I mean, I actually had about 20-25 photos in this area, and this is the one that I like the most.
Wow. Maybe he knew you were trying to get a shot, so he kept walking back and forth.
Well, little, I already mentioned about this is a red light district. I don't know if you can see the other two persons standing just behind the sign, just next to the restaurant. There's this guy walking and the crossing, There's two more persons just by the lamppost, and it's just in front of the restaurant on the side. These are actually two ladies. I would say escort, if you know, and so you will see every restaurant they usually have 2 or 3 girls standing on the corner.
Wow. Yeah, you should have brought the shadows up a little bit. But anyway,
yeah.
Thanks so much for sharing those, Jimmy.
No problem. Let me just try to close this now.
Okay.
And okay.
And how about Peter? Are you ready? I want to see some of your pictures, and maybe you can teach us a couple of things about your photography.
What we have here. I'll take the window, and I think it's it's this one. Let me see what happens. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, this is. I picked only 3 images because we're talking about macro four thirds, and as I said at the beginning when we're talking about the industry and what we've tested and used it, I really enjoyed the camera. And one kind of proof is that I really got some excellent images with it, which I personally liked. And what I try nowadays to do is I use quite a bit of what do you call these reflections, and then try to get something, like a parallel distance in reality, so there's something in the front and something in the back and all that. And this lady was having a hamburger in a hamburger joint in downtown Helsinki with her family, and I saw her there, and I just quickly grabbed the shot, like just walking, and grabbing the shot while I was walking. And I think I
love that. Like you were
got
saying,
the moment. Yeah,
I loved, like you said, with the reflections, you're creating a lot more depth in the image than otherwise would be there.
Yeah, and it's also kind of like hiding the background, what actually is in the restaurant,
exactly.
all the other people in there, and it's I found it to be interesting to do that. And what Jimmy was talking about, the depth of field, is that I mainly stop down to f8 to f5.6 all the time, because I just want everything to be sharp, because I think the background has a meaning, and just to throw it out of focus, I think it depends, of course. If you're taking a portrait, it's a different thing, but on street photographs and documentary, I think you want to see the whole context, and I think usually the background gives more to the image than just hiding it. And
absolutely.
then I have another one.
Cameras are good at that.
Yeah, that's exactly. And then this one, I saw this 2 couples. It was actually I had a small assignment for myself, which was like people in the streets of Helsinki, and I did quite a bit of shooting from the hip with I had the 25mm new one and the 17mm, and this one was 25. Yeah. The first 3 images that I have with 25, and I just love the clothes, because Finns tend to have dark clothes. It's either gray, black, or dark blue. And when you see people like this with with colorful clothes. You just, they need to be photographed.
Yeah.
And then there is the connection, and then also the lady in the back I just actually didn't realize that she was there, but I think it adds a little bit context and some you know, that she's looking at those, even though I think she's looking at me, and it actually later turned out that a lot of people have noticed her. She's a very famous influencer here in Finland, but of course I've never heard of her because she's in a different genre than I am.
Right.
So,
but you're right.
yeah.
I think the fact that she's looking at them is
Yeah.
it really gives a different perspective. Like we have your perspective, and then we have hers in a roundabout way.
Yeah. Yeah, and this also with a lot of depth of field, I think it works a lot better than you can actually see her and the expression, and it's quite sharp. And what was really why I did shooting from the hip was also to test the AF, and that was pretty good on OM3. I was astonished that it would nail like 99% of these type of shots. That there were no. It shouldn't, of course, be hard, but sometimes it has been with Olympus. But with that one, it really worked well on that. So.
Yep.
So that's also, let me share one more, and this is also from shooting from the hip. And again, caught these tourists. They look like they're from South America probably, because they was talking Spanish, and you know, having the color contrast with the food delivery companies. What do we call it? Cool bag, or what do you call that? You know, and then the colorful thing, and also the lady that was the one in the front with the brown coat, and she wasn't really happy that I was taking the photograph, as you see. But
Yeah.
I don't know if the funny thing also is that I'm not sure if they noticed me, because I got a lot of eye contact shots with shooting from the hip, because they probably just looked at the camera, but they didn't realize that I was taking the photograph. So that's also a tip, that if you want the eye contact on this, because Finns tend to turn their face away because that's the way we are.
Right.
So
right.
that's why, and that's
I love that little pop of yellow color right there in the center, and then from there you can kind of go back and look at everyone's faces and sort of their mood, right?
Yeah, and also I think this was 25 millimeters, so but also the blue bag in the front kind of gives some depth, but because there's something in the foreground, and that's especially important if you're using a wide angle, like Rob was talking about. Jimmy's excellent image about the use of wide angle is interesting. So I think there was a few things that you could call a lesson. Not sure if it was enough, but I have a few more photos for later if we have time. But yeah.
Let me move on to Marlene here.
How do I come out? How do I come out? Oh, end my screen. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended myself earlier. Sorry.
Marlene's just a little bit choppy there, but I think we'll get it. And your mic is off right now, Marlene.
While Marlene is figuring things out, can I say some things?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy, the Japan series, I remember you shared some of those photographs in your live stream. And I also commented on there was one photo you took at the Tokyo Metropolitan Tower in Shinjuku. I remember.
Oh, yes. yes.
Very nice series. Very nice series.
Thank you. Yeah. No, thanks a lot. Yeah, I really enjoy my time there, and it's really one of the places that you really can go all out for photography. You know, just so many things to photograph there.
Okay.
Also, okay.
Whoa.
Marlene should take the stage. Go.
Is that working?
You're almost there. All right.
There?
Okay, there we are.
Okay. This is weird because I can't see what you guys see. Okay. Woo! Scary. Are we good?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay. All right. So I mostly use Micro Four Thirds for birding.
Yep.
So this is a foggy morning in British Columbia when there was this beautiful eagle's nest with two juveniles and a pair of adults coming back and forth, and I just like how the one of the parents is screaming to the other parent, like, get over here and bring the food. So yeah, this was a really beautiful morning, and I just like it was in a mountain community, and you can just in the background you can kind of see a row of trees.
Yeah, I see like a little tree line there.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. And the next one, now I have two photos that are very similar here. I have this one, and I couldn't decide which was the shot. A friend of mine who's a professional photographer said this is the shot, but I feel this is the shot. So anyway, it's one of those situations where you sit there and wait for 20 minutes for the bird to do something. And I just really like great blue herons because they look so prehistoric. And I like this one because you really see the muscles underneath, which you don't see if they're just sitting in the swamp.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm not sure which I like better, but I mean, I took obviously a burst mode, but
right.
Anyway, but
I think the one that you showed before, the
this one,
that one is better. Yeah, because that's a little bit odd.
Yes.
Looking,
yes.
And the other one is like you've seen. Those are like
Classic.
13 in a dozen with the. But this one is, I think.
Yeah.
I like
just
this one.
And I mean, if you've ever shot one of these, you know the noise they make when they it's like it is a prehistoric sounding noise too. It's like they make this weird sound of screeching when they take off, and so that was fun. I have one more before we get into the lesson part, if we do. And this was an OM system shot, and I believe it was the 100 to 300 millimeter Lumix lens. So I did a video just to see if that lens was sharp and good enough to use.
Oh,
and
yeah.
At close distance, you know, here's the thing I'm finding about birding. Like if things are farther than a certain distance, it's not even worth shooting because no matter what camera lens, I just find they just get mushy. Even in good light, everything, I just find, and I've wondered if is it my shutter speed? Is it you know, the not sharp enough? I just find I need closer ups, especially of smaller birds. Otherwise, they're just not good enough. So anyway, I'm sure I should probably use a higher end OM camera with a higher end lens. But anyway, I'm always happy when I get a small bird that's super crisp.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of like the kit lens zooms, right? The 100 to 300, the 75 to 300 on the Olympus side. I've taken a lot of great shots with that, and those lenses are accessible, right?
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things you can do with Micro Four Thirds that would be very, much different experience than you would say with an APS-C or even full frame camera.
Yeah.
You can do these kind of shots, very easily with Micro Four Thirds in a small setup.
So I just have one little quick street shot that I took on today. And
nice.
This is with the G100. And it's, I'm really shy to photograph people, and I'm trying to get over that because I think that actually I love street photography. I love doing photo walks. I love the inner city. And I always get so much, I don't know, joy and peace. It sounds maybe a little woo-woo, but I just love street photography. But I'm so shy of getting people. So I'm always a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
So I always, so this is, obviously people are not recognizable in this. So I applaud you, Peter, for just like shooting like that, because I have actually been chased down by people once. So like, did you take my picture?
Yeah.
So it's, oh boy,
that can happen sometimes, but
yeah.
So anyway, but I like how this, like that's obviously me in the front, right? So the shadow. And so I like how everything kind of lined up there with the person and the dog. I just kind of wish the dog was in the light, but what you gonna do? But at least it was a white dog.
Right. Yeah, there's still good contrast there.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyway, but I have one more for later if we have time to get into the lesson. So yeah, that's it for me.
All right, Robin. Thank you, Marlene. Robin, what do you? Oops.
Before I share mine, I just want to say, because Marlene said that she wishes the dog was in the light, but if you look at the photograph again, it was highlighted, not highlighted, but there were shadows there, and those shadows actually made that frame pop, isolates the dog, which works.
Yeah.
Which I think works. Yeah. All right, let me share my screen. Where is it? Window. Oh dear.
Do we have some background noise from one of us, by the way?
Yeah,
Am I the only one hearing it? I don't know if it's Jimmy, because I can't hear your nice microphone anymore when you speak.
Yeah, it's probably Jimmy.
Yeah.
Can you hear there me? Is some.
Can you hear me? Yeah, it's coming from your machine, Jimmy, not from your microphone. If you press mute. Yeah, it's you.
Damn, what happened?
Just your microphone's gone off, I think. Might be something to do in the settings.
All right.
Okay. Trying to find. Found it. Share. Rob, did you get this?
Got it. Bearded
right.
man.
So I've done portraits of strangers for so long. It's not exactly street photography, because street photography, you know, like they say, you have to be discreet, you must be a ninja photographer, you must be invisible, and you try not to pollute the scene. It's a type of documentary, but hey, I don't really care. When I'm out there shooting, I just do what I like. And being in Malaysia, people are so friendly here. I think this will really help if Marlene is here. You won't be so shy, because everyone is so friendly here, and sometimes they will ask you to take their photographs instead, and which is really strange. It's bizarre. So I took this opportunity to take a lot of portraits of strangers, people that I don't know. Sometimes it's a quick, hey, can I take a photograph? So I grab a quick shot and run away. Sometimes we'll strike a conversation, and some of them have become friends, which is really cool. This particular shot I took last year when I was testing an old camera, the Olympus EPM2, with the Olympus 25 f1.8, and this is my favorite, maybe because it's a combination of all the colors. There's blue, he's wearing a blue shirt and a blue background, and the turban is light yellow, and there's light yellow in the background, so everything just comes together very, very nicely, and the beard just adds to the character. Everything just comes together so nicely, and the stare is so intense. And I always say this to people, that because a lot of my friends, they prefer to shoot like, you know, beautiful ladies or arrange fashion shoots. Nothing wrong with that. I do that a lot as well. But I find that everyone is beautiful. I think we just have to give them a chance. And if you are a good photographer, you should be able to take nice photos of people, right? So I'm still working there. I'm not saying that I'm a great photographer. It's a work in progress. And I enjoy shooting portraits of strangers so much. Right. Admittedly, this was not shot last year. This was a 2026 shot. I took this 2 weeks ago at Thaipusam. Sorry, but I just want to squeeze this photo in here because I have a very important message to tell. Thaipusam is one of the largest Hindu celebration in Malaysia. 2 million people go to this particular location. It shows you how large it is. And you know, the photographers look for all these dramatic moments, all these piercings. Yes, they do a lot of piercings, and they'll carry like the large loads called kavadi, and they'll go up the steps, 272 steps. I used to shoot during midnight, shoot all the way until sunrise, getting all the fire and smoke and all this. And in the morning, they will bathe by the river. You have the sunlight hitting the water and everything. All these super cool, dramatic shots, right? But these days, I still do that. I still enjoy doing it, but I have sort of like slowed down a little bit and prefer shots like this, which is a lot quieter, a lot calmer, and more intimate. It's just two persons sharing maybe a meme or on the phone, or maybe your child or a grandchild were on the phone sending them something, or you know, and the laugh is so pure, and there's that emotion, the joy, and I just love seeing people smile. And when they do that, it's just something so bright about it. And I was just so happy capturing this. This was taken with the EM1. EM5 original, not EM1, EM5 original with the kit lens 12 to 50. And one more photograph. this was last year, really last year, taken with the OM1 with the 60 f2.8 macro. And it's a photograph of an ant mimic spider capturing the ant it was trying to mimic, which is very strange because we always say that animals don't lie. All right, we always say that, oh, humans are horrible, we are evil, we have all this deception, and we put on masks and everything. But this ant mimic spider is technically lying its whole life. It's pretending to be something else, and mimicry is not only a defense mechanism, but it's the survival way of just blending with the ant colony and trying to nab one when no one is looking. So I find this very fascinating, and it's not easy to find one. And when I found one, it was like, oh, well, maybe I didn't shoot enough. And I made an effort to do more macro photography. And the important message here is that if you're out enough, if you shoot enough, you will find something really interesting to shoot. And the biggest problem, myself included, is that we are not out there enough. And all these things happening, we are just not there at the right place at the right time. So the more we shoot, the more we give ourselves a chance to get those winning shots, right? So yeah, that's all I have to share for now.
Wow, that was fascinating. And I really liked how you explained each one about how you approach your photography now and how it's evolving. It is a lifetime, hobby, right? We're always learning and doing new things. And,
yes.
and our interest in the kind of subjects that we take can change. So that was really interesting. And that ant, I thought it was two ants, but like you said, one is a spider, and you kind of explained how animals lie too. Never thought of it that way. That's cool. So, okay, so I wanted to kind of move on to a little twist here. And I'm going to ask you guys to host for a few minutes. So if you have any questions, and we'll start there with Emily. She was...
Yeah, I'm proud of this one. I think this would be a really good video topic, actually. So I'm going to go to Peter first. What 3 features are a non-negotiable in your imaginary perfect dream camera?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I don't think I have any that are totally
EVF?
decisive.
You told me you needed an EVF?
Yeah, well, okay, EVF. But on the other hand, I've been using like 2 to 3 years a camera without an EVF, but now I bought one. So yeah, maybe that one could be something. And then, well, let's say that that the IBIS is one that I'm so used to. And then when I was testing the horrible Lomo MCA camera, and it didn't have, of course, because it's a film camera, and then half roll, I realized that, wait a minute, I've been using this long shutter speeds and it won't be sharp, and it wasn't. But that was, of course, not the fail of the camera. It was that I forgot that there is no IBIS in the camera. So those 2, but maybe what the third one could be, I don't know. Just that the system has a 40mm lens.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. That's my favorite as well.
That's probably the 3
What
ones.
about you, Marlene? What are your 3 favorites?
Definitely fun features. The camera has to have live view composite. One of my favorite features. I would love ND filters built in.
That's
for sure.
Yeah.
And I think, gosh, that's a hard one. There's so many things. Well, I would say video quality as well. Good video quality. Just a hybrid.
Yeah, I think they're all good points. I think the only one that I would add that I'm really fond of in recent years is having a dedicated photo and video dial, so you can set the camera up in 2 ways. I find that so handy, and the OM3 has that, and I love it.
Yeah, G9 has, S1 Mark II has that too, and I love that. It's so fast. Almost as fast as pushing the red video button, almost.
Yes.
Just have to put your filters on and just use those magnetic filters, and then you're good.
Yeah. Anybody else want to answer that? Robin, how about you?
3 video features?
So any features on a camera that had to be on your dream camera.
image stabilization,
Mm-hmm.
tilt screen, whether it's swivel or tilt up and down, and really good autofocus. Like, I don't care what kind of autofocus they use.
Yeah.
Just make it work. I don't care.
What about you, Jimmy?
Can I say something
Of course you can.
on this? Yeah, now I know I don't like Ricoh cameras,
Yeah.
Robin. Because they don't have any of those.
But the new one has, though, the GR4.
Yeah,
It has
the
image
new one has.
stabilization.
That one.
Yeah.
And
I haven't
autofocus is
tested
really
that, so-
good, right? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't tested that.
And what about you, Jimmy? What would your three
Yeah.
favorites be?
I think I could echo Robin's three, but I would like to make the next move. If any camera makers can make something, if it's, you know, I know it exists already, global shutter, you know, just no physical shutter, and then you know, I think that means that we can live without having a fear that the shutter is going to break down one day. And that's my worry, because I shoot so much and change the lenses a lot, and it's always something can jam in the shutter one way or the other. And I know how many photographs I've photographed every year, and based on whatever camera I have, you know, the shutter life will only last for a couple of years, and it will be dead. You know, if it based on those figures, obviously it can run a little bit longer than that. So yeah, if I can have a camera that can last, you know, without having a fear about breakdown of shutters. You know, global shutter literally will eliminate that problem completely.
Amazing. Great answers.
Wow. Okay. How about Peter? Why don't you take over for a few minutes? If you had any questions.
Well, yeah, I do. And I'm going to start with you, Emily, because I know that you have traveled quite a bit last year. Am I right?
Yes, I get
So how do you
44 flights.
How do you see, is that inspiring you as your photography? Because I've noticed myself when I travel that I tend to get better photographs when I'm traveling. And is that because I'm too attached to the whole experience, or is it just that I'm seeing new things? So what's your take on that? Is it photographing at your, you know, own neighborhood boring, or how do you see that?
So particularly in the UK in winter, I do struggle to get out. Unless something interesting is happening, like it's foggy or raining, it can be a little bit one note and a little bit grey. And I do think there is value in going to new environments, and you don't have to go to far off places, even visiting a different town.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
you don't have to do loads. And I think sometimes when people, I say on my channel a lot, it's like, instead of buying the new shiny camera, invest a little bit of money in a couple of experiences and just try and photograph new things and get inspired that way. So yeah, I do love travel for that.
Yeah. Anybody else wants to pitch in for this?
I don't travel. I haven't been on a plane in
Well, I mean,
25 years.
Yeah, but Rob, what about, do you like to go to the same places, or you get inspired if you go somewhere you haven't been before? Or you do?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I don't mind going back to the same place over and over again and looking at it from a different perspective. I always find something new and something maybe I had never seen before. Maybe it's an actual physical thing that I didn't notice was there before, or maybe it was a certain way that light reflects or reflection, you know, because I'll go at different times of the day and I'll like, wow, look at how the light is reflecting off that building and creating like this beautiful window shadow on the ground, and, you know, things like that. So I don't mind going to the same place over and over again.
Yeah, and it's also, especially here in the north, we have very strong 4 seasons, so that the everything looks different now when it's like -15 outside, a lot of snow, and then in the spring and summer, you know, that makes also a difference. So that's why, of course, you could go to the same place. You'll probably have the same thing. You have seasons there too.
Yeah, we got
maybe not that strong as we have, but
we have seasons where I live too. So yeah. I think that for me, I like to, I'm taking workshops now. I mean, even though I was teaching at university level photography, right now I'm doing other people's workshops, and I find it's just access for me, and it's safety, because I did a night photography workshop, and it was like all inclusive. I just show up, and it was, you know, I didn't have to worry about bringing food or sleeping bag and a tent or anything. And it was just really nice. And I mean, you pay the premium for that, but I figure at this stage of my life, I'm going to have experiences. And I also just recently did a frozen lake workshop 2 weekends ago, and it was amazing. And just like, because I don't really like to go out on country roads alone at night, but my new thing is astrophotography. I find it's hugely challenging. So if I'm with a group of people that I can shoot with, and even if we're, half a mile apart, I still know that they're there. And so, yeah, I like those kind of adventures right now in terms of travel. And I like a road trip for sure. I like a road trip. Because your flight, you won't miss your flight if you're on a road trip, and you're more flexible. So yeah, I do like short travel. Yeah.
That's you had a very good point about workshops, and I wish someone would have a workshop in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, here in a couple of months. Hint, hint, hint.
Wow, yeah, that would be a great idea.
I wonder who.
I wonder who. That would be so awesome. So if you haven't heard about it, then just you might hear somewhere that's talking in the streets.
Link in the video description.
Yeah, not sure. I can't promise that because not my channel.
Right. Yeah. Well, speaking of, before we move on a little bit, people not here, like Maddie Salanto couldn't make it. And of course, my good friend, I'm going to tear up if I talk about him too much, but Ben Chappell, because Marlene mentioned astrophotography. He was another great advocate for the Micro Four Thirds system, and he's dearly, dearly missed.
Yeah.
I think about him like every day. Okay, I got to stop because I'm going to lose it. So, but Maddie may come on later, on his, individually. He'll get special treatment. And Ben will always be with us in our hearts.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
Robin, did you have anything you wanted to...
Oh, yes.
If you were a host for a live stream like this one, what would you do?
I know it's difficult, but I think I'm very interested to know if it's okay with you, Rob, to share maybe your favorite memory with Ben. I think we'll love to know. Something, you don't have to go so deep, right? Something that, I think it's important to remember him.
Yeah. All right. If I tear up, all right, don't hold that against me.
Because I think, like, of all of us here, you are the closest to Ben, and you've met him in person, right? Yeah.
Honestly, I've gone up to his place a few times, and he taught me a lot. But what I remember most is actually he would call me on the phone.
Wow.
Every few weeks or whatever, there was some interval, and he would be driving from his office back to home, so he had like a 30-minute window between the office, and he would call me. And I remember our last conversation was actually about the Fujifilm X-Half of all cameras. He loved that thing.
Nice.
He said Fuji knows what people want, and Fuji knows people want to have fun, and this is a fun little camera, etc. And I said, I hate that camera. Anyway, we were having that conversation, right? But what I remember most is he would arrive home, and his kids would come running out, and I could hear them over the phone, how excited they were that Dad was home. And that's when he would say, okay, Rob, I have to go,
Oh, thank you for sharing, Rob. Thanks so much.
Yeah,
now, my next question is to Peter. Peter, you have released a new book titled From Snapshots to Stories. Sorry if I say it wrongly.
I just happen to have it here.
So can you tell us a bit about the book, the process of making the book, and also he didn't pay me to say this, by the way. It's a genuine question. And what's the most challenging thing to make the book, the process?
Well, it's actually a very long story, but I'm gonna make it short. The whole process started about a year ago. In January 4th, I cracked my or snapped my Achilles tendon playing soccer.
Ouch.
Football, and I had to spend in a bed in a cast for two months, and then I couldn't make any videos, couldn't do anything. So I started to think could I make a book about the same topics that I made videos, and then I just downloaded all the transcripts and started writing from that into form of a book. So actually, the creative part has been done over the years. So that was part kind of easy. Of course, making it in a form of a book was hard, and then designing the book and getting the photographs. But the hardest part was publishing, even though I'm publishing it, by print on demand. But there was, let's go to the biggest problem was when I was publishing it for Kindle as an ebook. I sent the files to these places, a couple other ones too that are selling other what do you call these tablets that what do you call these, whatever, and it kept bouncing back because of the font. I found out that the fonts that I have on and all of you guys over here and over there are not licensed to be used on an ebook. They can license but everything, and that was the biggest thing, because then I had to figure out which font, and already done the design of the book. So I needed to find a font that has a license for ebooks and doesn't really break the all the things, or the space between words and letters has to be the same, so I don't have to redesign the whole thing. And yeah, I did find something, and then it eventually worked. But that was a biggest surprise. And there were a lot of little things like that. So if you guys are ever trying to make a book, I can help.
Wow, did not know
that. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Peter.
Yeah, but it was interesting thing. And now it's funny because there are companies approaching me, and now I've been the one that been asking a few influencers, do you want to read my book? So it's interesting to be on the other side of the table on that type. You'll get yours, Robin, I promised. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Okay, next, Marlene.
Yeah, but it's been an.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's been an interesting experiment, and I already have two next books in my head, so more to come.
Looking forward to them, Peter. Marlene, hi.
Hi.
So I've dive into your work, which you have published on your website, and you have 4 categories. You have street and places, I think. Then there's birding, and then there's skateboarding, which I find very fascinating, and you skateboard as well, which is really, really cool. Those are amazing body of work. And the one that surprised me the most, and the one that I actually fell in love with the most, was this and that. I know it's sort of like a mixture of everything that doesn't fit elsewhere, but those photographs of dead or almost dead flowers or leaves or plants, they spoke to me. So my question to you is, what inspired you to take those photographs, and will we see more of those photographs? Is it an ongoing project or something about those? I just love them so much.
Well, as Peter said, we have seasons, and a lot of northern Canada. Well, I'm sort of middle Canada, latitude 52, I believe. It's there's a lot of dull seasons, and it's warm, but we don't get, and it's very dry where I live. So when I'm on my photo walks, I typically, or when I'm on a walk, I go walking every day, and I take a camera, and usually I take the G100 or the S9, and I see all these dead things because the place that I walk in doesn't have like tall trees. And I really love, I just love the simplicity of the no color or little color. So the brown tones and things. And I like to play with those with the filters in the camera sometime and things like that. So I think that just noticing the small things, and in that whole this and that category, a lot of those are taken on photo walks that I do. And I just find for my, just my mental health and just to calm down. I love a walk, and I find sometimes it's, all of us do reviews on gear, and I find it's a bit hollow sometimes. So I like to get real, and so you need more than just reviews. And I know that reviews bring in the views, That's like a little buzz phrase that I use, because every time I try to make one of those personal videos, like they just tank. So, but I don't really care, because YouTube is not how I make my living. And so I just want to try to keep it real. And if I make a boring video once in a while, like, I don't care, it doesn't cause me stress or anything. It's whatever. But yes, I like just seeing the small things, and the dead things interest me. Crinkled up leaves or whatever, dead dying petals, or even just like one or two colors in a photo. I like that too. So anyway, I hope that answers your question.
Thanks for sharing, because of your work is amazing, of course, for the categories that you have shared. But the ones that I would print and hang out on my wall with those dead flowers and leaves, they look really great.
I'm also a big gardener, and I took a series a few years ago of images, like when I pulled them out of the garden and just took pictures, and I made huge prints of them. But I also made some silver prints, like black and white silver paper.
Nice.
And a friend of mine bought 4 of them, and he said, I want these on silver and black. Like he said, I want them black and white. And I thought, I'm going to put them on silver. And I just did 8 by 10s, but they just jump off the page when you print on silver paper. And it's, it's a color paper. I think it's a Fuji, whatever, but it's a silver process, just like any photo print, like that's not inkjet. But yeah, so those, I kind of like that kind of stuff too, still life. And, I play with many things, but I can't say that I have one area, but I do love shooting skateboarding. I find it, and I have, I skateboarded yesterday afternoon outdoors. It was like 15 or 16 degrees here in Calgary. I mean, we went from minus 16, or even colder, like 3 weeks ago to plus, it was 18 degrees, I think, on Wednesday or something. So that's where we live close to the mountains. So we get this weird weather, like it's super cold, and then we get Chinooks, it's called. And so it gets really warm, and all the snow melts. And so yeah, we can go bike riding and skateboarding now.
Amazing.
Keeps me young.
Amazing.
Hanging out with young people keeps me young.
You look young, Marlene.
It's 63. Thank God it's a small picture in everyone's video, because.
Okay, next, Emily. Hi.
Hello.
So I've seen in one of your videos talking about YouTube that I think this is like a year or 2 ago. I could be wrong, but you talk about how you have switched things around, that you have put more emphasis on YouTube, so you don't take as many like photography jobs as much as last time. So I'm wondering, so since then, so it's been some time, how are you doing as a sort of like a full-time YouTuber, and you're not doing as much professional jobs as you did last time? And also, like, what do you miss being a full-time photographer?
So yes, I am a full-time YouTuber now for my sins. I just did one wedding last year for a friend, and it was like, shrugging my coat on, getting back out of retirement. But what I am now actually is a pest to my photography friends. I have a friend called Rebecca who does aerial and silks and dog photography and everything. And sometimes, just to sort of keep creative, I'll be like, can I just come and shoot for free? Can I just come and hang out with you? So I still do all these shoots and get some really creative opportunities, but I don't have the stress of sort of having to do it to be paid anymore. So it's sort of quite nice. Yeah. Hopefully I'm not too annoying with my photography friends.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's important to like actually do real stuff, because we can get lost in doing our reviews, testing cameras, but as photographers, we do need to shoot, right? Yeah. Thanks for sharing. And you are doing so well in your channel. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm trying very hard.
Well, I see you're also sponsored content too now, Emily. So that's cool.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's where you start to make the big bucks. So that's good. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
And finally, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy.
Hello.
And I remember in one of our, I don't know which live streams that we did together, must have been one of these annual live streams in the past. I asked you a question about something to do with a personal project, and you did share a bit about this project. You said that it's a secret, you're not going to say what project it is.
Yep.
It's a long-term project, which will take more than 10 years. So I'm just wondering if that
It's still a
project
secret.
is finished or it's been published somewhere.
No.
Anything you can tell
No,
us about it or nothing? Oh,
Well, I can share a little bit of insight, but
Okay.
nothing I will show in terms of pictures or anything like that. But
Sure.
it's an area that I grew up. So I've been documenting
Ah.
the area. And the big thing is because the area has been, it's being regenerated by the government for the past 13 years now, 13 years.
Ah.
So a lot of the places that I used to hang out as a kid are no longer there because they were demolished, they were being rebuilt, covered up, and whatnot. So what happened is I keep going back every 3, 4, 5 years to go to the exact spot to photograph, so I can have pictures of the same location changes all over time. And I got about 7 spots in the area that I go back to every 4 or 5 years, and then every time I go back, it looks completely different because the regeneration. When you regenerate, literally they're rebuilding everything. So even though the road is the same, but even the width of the road's changed. So it's actually I find it quite challenging, especially for the last 4 years. And every time I go back now, I can't find my spot because it's really hard to kind of find exactly where it was because all the landmark has changed. So I had to really trying hard to find, okay, there was a tree there. Where's the tree? Is the tree still there? I'm trying to make sure that I get the same angle. And I always use the same lens. So just so you know, it was an Olympus lens when I started the project. So I'm still using the same Olympus lens. So I'm making sure the angle of view, the settings, everything remain the same. Obviously shutter speed and ISO could be variable, but the angle of view has to be the same, aperture and everything, so you can get the direct comparison over time. It's still an ongoing project because the area it hasn't been completed. As you can see, that any sort of city regenerations can take upwards of 20 years. So this could be a long haul.
Thanks for sharing. Now I can picture what you're doing a little bit clearer, and I look forward to seeing the final output. Keep us updated if there's anything happening. All right, back to you, Rob.
Yes.
Sorry, that took a little bit longer than necessary.
No, it's all right. I wanted to do this little twist in the stream because a lot of us don't get together all at once and be able to ask each other questions that we could share with the audience. So I thought it'd be a little more interesting. So, Marlene, why don't you take over for a couple of minutes? What do you got for us today?
Okay. When you're shooting, what do you prefer, JPEG or RAW?
Oh,
definitely RAW. I'd say I'm about a 90-10. 10% I'll do JPEG when I like the art filters and I feel like the art filter would work well for a particular scene. Then I'll use that. But yeah, 90% RAW because I love processing in DxO. Right.
See, I hate being on the computer. And so I often just shoot JPEGs, but I'm curious, if you guys are okay, so Emily, I'll point it to you. If you're testing a camera, I think for me to get the true essence of how a camera operates is you have to shoot JPEG because you have to know how that computational stuff works. So or do you think it's just something else?
Oh, so I always shoot RAW as a backup, but I always like to see the JPEGs. And if the JPEGs look good, that's a very good sign that I'm gelling with the camera and it works well for me. And as a complete little sort of YouTube-y behind the scenes thing, if you ever get a pre-production camera, please always shoot RAW plus JPEG because there's so many softwares that won't accept the RAW files. When I went to the S5 II launch, I shot everything in RAW and I was like, oh, I've got nothing to show here. It was so bad. But yeah, I love and value the quality of JPEGs very much. But I am a little bit of a control freak. And if I've got the time, I will always edit them as well.
Okay. Peter, what is your editing software that you like to use?
Lightroom. Classic.
Lightroom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And do you shoot, you probably shoot RAW then if you're...
Yeah, 99.9% is raw. I think it's part of the process is to make the image look the way I want, and you know that the image that comes out of as a JPEG is decided in the manufacturing company that what the image should look like, and it's not always the thing.
Right. Okay, Robin, do you think that AI affects your photography at all? And are you nervous about AI creeping more into photography, especially on the editing side, or even just taking images? Like, I guess the big question is, I took philosophy of art at university, and the thing is, like, you actually have to do the thing that you've imagined. So if we can imagine our photos, is that the creative part? Anyway, something around that.
The photography that I do mostly is to record or to document. 'Cause I think you're talking about whether it affects my job as a working photographer. Because if it's a hobby, it doesn't affect me at all. I can still go out and enjoy doing my street photography inside macro. I still enjoy. I don't care about the AI. I just do whatever I want. But for work, it's a little bit different. But I'm lucky in the sense that the job that I do is to record and document. So it's a lot of event coverage, even weddings. I used to do weddings, but I've phased out of weddings. And a lot of things are like portraits and lifestyle portraits and product photography. So I need to record or I need to shoot what's real, like stage photography, like a singer actually singing on stage. Yeah, you can prompt the AI to generate the photograph of the singer on whatever stage that you want, but it's not the same because I was paid to shoot the actual thing. And my clients, they want the actual thing. They don't want imaginary stuff because they work so hard with the makeup, the fashion, the dress, and everything, the lighting, the setup of the stage. They spend money to make the stage look good. So they want me to record that. So I think for now, my job is quite safe. It's not really affected by AI yet, but I'm not saying that it won't, because at the way of how things are going, it seems like AI is creeping into every aspect of our life, not just photography, right? It's everywhere now. You just can't deny that. But so far, because what I shoot is to record what is there, so far it's still quite safe, I'll say.
I saw a video the other day about like this headshot software that you just put any picture of yourself and it creates a business portrait. And I'm like, whoa. Because I used to shoot a ton of, I worked in corporate photography for many years. And I used to shoot a ton of headshots. I'd go in and shoot 50 employees and set up and every day, like just like school portraits. But it's like now, like those people, you don't need that anymore.
Yeah.
So yes, I don't want to be, I don't always want to talk about AI, but anyway, I just thought I'd bring that up. Okay, I do have a question for Jimmy. What is your favorite subject to shoot? Jimmy? What brings out your joy when you're shooting?
I would say street. That's probably at a personal level, that's what makes me smile. If I am being honest, in terms of photography, I love portraiture. That's my profession. And that's what I make my money from. So I photograph a lot of people, the young, old, celebrity, whatnot, everybody. And the group. So and I do that for 15 years now, and then so I think that has becoming, I wouldn't say boring, but becoming like a repetitive process. And whenever I step into a scene and started photographing and I turn into a robot. I just do whatever I needed to do and make sure it happens. Occasionally, there will be clients who will be as adventurous as I am. Then we can explore opportunities and we can make something creative, make something fun together. But those are far and few in between, because majority of my clients are normal people. They're not models. They're just families and even celebrities that I photograph. They want me to photograph their family life. So I'm not actually making a press shots for them for them to promote themselves. And that will be down to the commercial team and all the other people. So I meet them like I meet any other people at the personal level. So and when we see each other, we don't speak about the work. I don't ask, oh, what's the latest album is? What is the latest movie? I don't even talk about that. We just talk about family lives and things like that. And free, that's when I kind of think that, oh wow, this is my me time now. I can go and do my thing. I may not get a shot, but who cares? I'm standing on the street, I'm observing, taking shots. Yeah, I think even though I've said that I've been doing the same thing, same place, that over time I change up. So just kind of enjoy that.
Did we freeze?
Oh,
Yeah, it did.
Anyone hear me?
Yeah.
just cut out a
Okay,
little
which
bit.
bit did I
that was
stop
all.
then?
Okay. I have a quick question for you. I have a quick question for Rob. If Rob, if there was a photographer, or if there was a person who asked you, I want to get a camera, I want to get up from my iPhone, step up, and they had a budget of say $400 or $500, what would you recommend for a beginner? It doesn't have to be Micro Four Thirds. What would you say? Like, because I get asked this question all the time, and it's like, I don't know what to recommend, because cameras that are like, there's like this gap. There's the cheap ones, and then there's this like $1,000 gap, and then you get something that's good enough, I think. But then we see it from a different angle. Your mic.
Sorry, it would have to be a used camera. The EM10 Mark II with a kit lens, you can easily get for under $400.
Okay.
Maybe even throw in the 40 to 150. That combination is what got me started in Micro Four Thirds, and the rest is history. So that's what I recommend. Brand new, I can't think of any $400 or $500 camera.
Well, I recommended them the little Pentax, because this gal, she does kayaking and she wanted something that she could take on the water if she had to.
Yeah.
The little Pentax, but like it was $400 Canadian, so that's about 300 American. But it was like, and I looked at it, and because her husband called me and said, like, what should I buy her? She wants a camera, because she had bought a used DSLR kit a few years ago, and it was way too much for her.
Yeah.
She couldn't manage it. It was too complicated. I guess that's where I'm going here. So I said, well, just get a point and shoot that is rugged. You can take in the water. I said, she won't be able to do birding. It'll just be wide angle stuff, everyday stuff. But honestly, people's iPhones, I think, are just as good in that case. But she wanted to learn and wanted to step it up a little. So
yeah.
it is.
Yeah. If somebody wants to get into photography, I think I used the M10 Mark II with a kit lens is probably the best option. Yeah. Because I did everything from my personal to professional work on that EM10 Mark II.
Cool. Did I get everybody? Yes.
Sorry?
I said, did I get everybody?
Yes,
I think I did.
Yes. So Jimmy, you host a weekly live stream with Rod over there, and
yes,
I'm sure this is your opportunity to have us as your guest today.
we usually chat rubbish, so we just have some fun doing some nerdy talks, and we just have some fun together. Whoever wants to join in and have a chat, that it's more like a get together thing, so there's nothing in specific. But yes, today there is a question that I want to ask everybody. It's the same question for everyone, and so I'll ask the question so we can just take turn to answer it. I get asked all the time. I think it's in some way related to some of the stuff that you guys already mentioned. But I get asked all the time if I'm aspiring to be a photographer, what should I do if I'm coming from nowhere, have no experience, anything, but I'm aspiring to be a photographer? What would be the advice that you would give this person? So maybe going clockwise from my screen. So Rob first.
Oh, really? Do I have to go first? I'm the worst person to give advice for this. By
Right back.
Photographer, if you're referring to like as becoming an enthusiast and doing photography as a passion, that's one thing. As a professional, really, and I would say this might even be true for the enthusiast, but it's all about the people, right? And networking with people and getting to know your environment and having a curiosity. So if you have those basic fundamentals in your personality, that if you are curious about things in general, you know, and you know, are very gregarious and getting to know people, those two things will take you a long way in your photography, regardless of what gear you're using.
I think you're right. You know, people often forget that photography is actually a business, people business, and then but even outside of the business level, even the personal level, it's still about communication. Whatever you photograph, is that relationship, that trust that you have to build between you and the subject, right? And so it's good that you mentioned about the human side of it. So it's that's how I talk to people. That's good. So what about Emily?
Oh, so when I was starting out with wedding photography, I was just finding people that would like an assistant unpaid, not even a second shooter, because I think you need a quite a good amount of skill to even be a second shooter. But I think a lot of it is watching people, watching how you manage people, seeing what gear you use, getting tips and tricks like that. And then the step up from that, I think, is finding like-minded people, or even pairing up with people. Like, for instance, you might have friends who want photos taken of them, and you could be like, well, let's do it for free and see how it goes. No pressure. And learning the ropes that way with a lot of experimentation. In terms of hobbyist, just take your camera everywhere, because one day you'll run into something that's really cool and you'll wish you had it with you.
Yeah, I think you brought out 2 points there. In two of them is actually joined together between being a professional or enthusiast, is that you have to keep shooting, right? You know, being you know, like it's no point you're into photography but not shooting it. So like you know, regardless of what camera you have or just a smartphone, whatever, you just have to shoot. If you went into photography, the only way to gain experience, to become better, is to keep shooting non-stop. Right. And on business level, and I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I used to shoot wedding way back when I first started. And what people don't see being a wedding photographer is that we have to be not just a photographer at the venue, right? You know, we are more than just a photographer. We are the the wedding planner. We are the wedding organizer. We are
dress fixers, therapists.
Yes, we are the therapists. We are the comedian. You know, we have to make everybody laugh. You know, that's a hard job. You know, you have to do that 7-8 hours straight. You know, that is not easy. People think that we just hold a camera and then snapshots. You know, it's not as easy or simple as that. I think you brought out a really good point there. And if anyone listening want to get into wedding photography, make sure, you know, train yourself to be a comedian. You know, and have a thick face. You know, don't worry about making fun of yourself. You know, this is the only time you can actually make them laugh and capture those nice, happy moments that people see.
Yeah, so true. There was one time I did a wedding in Scotland, and we wanted the bride to get near like this beautiful body of water, and I literally took my trainers off because we were the same size, so that she wouldn't ruin her shoes. You know, you have to be that for everyone, and a lot of time management and wrangling cats.
Yes.
Fun.
I literally lose my voice by the end of it because I've been shouting so much, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. What about Marlene?
When I was teaching at university, I told my students to because they were going on the commercial photography stream, and I mean it's very hard to break into that. And a couple of things I always said is like learn the business side of photography, but also assist another photographer who is in the same industry that you are. So if you want to do commercial work, high-end work, then definitely assist somebody like that for a few years. And also get a rep. If you're really into high-end stuff, you almost need a rep. And a lot of my, I say a handful of my students who I'm very proud of have gotten like at that high level. And it's really good to see when you remember them when they were taking Photo 101 and how they've grown and how they've broken into the industry. And it's very hard right now to do that kind of photography. Things like, editorial is very accessible, but nobody makes money on editorial anymore because they just often just use stock photos. And now they can use AI photos. They can say, oh, throw me a photo of a person throwing a baseball, and there you have one. So that kind of, depending on the industry. But if you want to go for commercial, then definitely try to work as an assistant for somebody and really learn, because it is a people business, especially commercial.
Yes.
You're dealing with art directors and photo producers, and you're dealing with a lot of people. And that would be my advice for that kind of photography.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people, I think it's already echoing three times already. Rob said the same thing, Emily, and you now, Marlene. It's that people side that people often forget. If you really want to get into commercial or professional photography, you want to make money from photography, that people element makes a big part of it, right?
Yeah.
So, Peter, what about you?
Well, I get a lot of questions from friends and who I know, and they ask that, okay, my kid wants to be a photographer. What's photography school should he or she attend? And I always say that go to the School of Economics and study marketing.
Yep.
And then take workshops on photography, and you will a lot better off. And many have said it's about the people. And when a client sees the photograph, they actually see the photographer. So that's why it's if they had fun, you can go along with mediocre photographers, because I know a lot of talented photographers that are great photographers, but they are so bad with people and business that they never make it as a professional photographer. Even they are worse photographers that has succeeded. And then the second thing is, which is the latest advice, is go all in with AI. Sorry to say that, but that's the way to, if you want to be an advertising photographer, you need to do AI. Or like Marlene said, there's the software that you can make these portraits of people. Why not be that photographer who can, prompt the right images, and you will be successful. I know this is a harsh truth, and if I was a young photographer, I would go all in with AI. That's my 10 cents on this.
It's interesting you bring in the AI conversation there, because I do think that as a modern photographer, you do have to embrace the AI. I don't think we can avoid it or just hide ourselves from it. They are everywhere. Robin really said it earlier, and then it is true. And then if you're trying to shy away from it, and if you want to make money from photography, you kind of have to work with it and to see what AI can improve you as a photographer or whatever genre of photography you're doing. Because commercial photography is very different to personal photography. Personal photography can be travel, can be, portrait and things like that. That can be the personal level. But commercial is all about making money, about making what the client wants. So it's a very different type of thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
And AI really actually, in my photography, I do use AI a lot for certain things, simply because my clients want it. If they want it, they're paying for it, and I'm happy to deliver it. So, and you do have to embrace it. And it's also very, very true what you said there. If you don't go all in now, you'll be left behind, because everyone will be better at prompting the AI to do certain things that they want, while you can't, because you are not used to it. You're just thinking AI would only be able to do this and that. But you have to train yourself to use AI as well. It's not very easy to get the result that you want unless you do very specific prompting, right? So prompting will be a very delicate career. I can see that starting to happen now. People who are very good at describing things to AI will become a career.
Yep,
so
exactly.
What about you, Robin?
I think everything that needs to be said has been said, but I do have something to add. But before that, I just want to echo that the business side of things is very important, as Marlene and Peter have said. The communication, the people skills side of things, very important. It's not just about getting the best shots or being skillful as a photographer or being creative. You can be the best photographer, but if you don't have all these basics of business, marketing, or even know how to talk to people, then basically you set yourself to fail from the start, right? But let's say that you already have all these things nailed down. The one edge that I would say that I have compared to my competitors here, the one thing that, you know, like I have a lot of clients and I'm not the best photographer around here in Kuala Lumpur. I can easily name 100 photographers out there that are better than me in terms of getting the better shots, or they are more skillful or more experienced than I am. But why do they hire me and why do they come back to me? The one important thing is likability. You have to be likable as a person. You have to be the kind of person that people want to hang out with. That separates you between the photographer that they hire once and they get the shots and they move on, or will they come back for you again and become a recurring client? Because if they like you, they'll come back for you. And it's hard to put this into descriptions, because everyone is different, and I'm not asking people to change who they are, because some people don't smile as much and they don't talk as much, and some people are, you know, they don't like being around other people, right? But it's very important for you to somehow make yourself likable, because if not, then it's very hard for you to stand out from all your competitors. I think that's just something that I noticed that has worked for me and a lot of my other peers who are very successful photographers here in Kuala Lumpur.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think one takeaway from what Robin just said is that if you want to be likable, please master the smile coming from Robin. You know, like his smile is magnetic. You know, like the way he smiles, you know, you just say, oh, he's a cool guy. I want to hang out with him.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yep, happiest guy on YouTube, or in the world, maybe.
Okay, awesome. Back to you, Rob.
Yeah, that was awesome, guys. Thanks so much for taking a little load off of me for a while. You know, if I could offload the annual stream entirely, that would be nice. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, you know, we were way over the time that I allotted for us today, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. If you have any last words for the audience that you'd like to share before we sign off, that would be awesome. So we'll start with Emily there.
Yeah, I'm still amazed and so happy that we still get together 8 years later and do this. I think we have the best corner of the internet in camera YouTube. It's wonderful. And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you, Emily. It's great to have you back every year. I always worry a little bit, you know, like you guys will just get too big for it to even, you know me anymore, right?
Never.
Nonsense.
Like Rob Trek, that guy, that has been that. Anyway,
No.
how about you, Marlene? Any last words for our audience you'd like to share?
Well, just like, you know, everyone said, it's just a great community to be a part of, and I feel like I feel a bit like I'm shrinking because I'm you know, narrowing my focus and getting older, and like wondering at what point do I get out of YouTube or get out of this. I will always take pictures. So yeah, my last words are, yeah, it's great to see everybody, and thanks for hosting. And I love my YouTube community, and that's probably the people that are keeping me going are the people that watch my videos, comment, and you know, they kill the trolls, they support me, they give me little like super thanks and stuff like that. Stuff keeps me going, all those little things. And I just love seeing people like Robin. I try to jump on his live stream when I can, because that's like, oh yeah, he can do it, I can do it. Like, let's, you know, and it's just nice to be, I feel connected, I think, to this community more than any other in that I've worked with.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and that's one thing I'll say about all of us here, and is that what drives us to be here is the community, and our main you know, motivation for this is to help other people, you know, become better photographers, you know, and inspire them to become better photographers. So That's our main motivation of being here, and the community is what keeps us here, because you guys, the audience, I feel like give just as much as we do. It's a two-way street a lot of the times. So anyway, okay, Peter, any last words for our audience?
Yeah, I want to thank everybody who was here, especially the panelist or whatever you might call yourself here. And it's great to meet you guys. And I met Jimmy last March, and looking forward to meeting Robin, and hopefully Rob and Emily and Marlene, we can meet someday. Yes. Hopefully, that would be great. But thanks to all of you who watched, and I saw that there were a lot of comments also, and thanks for that. But I will go back to those comments. Well, maybe I can't go back to the chat, but I was concentrating on what everybody was saying. So, but I read a few comments, and thanks for the nice words. And don't forget to like and subscribe to Rob's channel, and send him a few super thanks and coffees and whatever you support him for, and watch his videos too. But thanks so much for everyone. It was great, and a special thanks to Rob for organizing this. This is great. Waiting for next January.
Yes.
To get an invite again.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. Robin, any last words for the audience here?
Yes, like what Peter said, if you guys want to see more of this happening, you want to see this annual thing, please buy Rob Track a coffee. You know, he has his PayPal, his Amazon links. You can send super chat, support him, and we'll be here with Rob Track. That's for sure. And thank you so much, Rob. I think this has gone very smooth. I think no problem whatsoever. It's amazing. And yeah, very happy to be here. Thanks for having us, and looking forward to do this again. Anytime, Rob, we'll be here.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you. And that reminds me, the workshop and your book, Peter and Robin, and anything else you guys, if we talked about anything that that the viewers can take advantage of, you know, just email me whatever information. I'll include it in the description of this live stream below, because right now all I have is just your names and a few details. I don't even have my buy me a coffee links down there. I wanted
you should put it.
I wanted this to be about for our viewers, not for me. So that's why, like I said, our motivation, all of us here, is for the viewers. Not it's very, very little do with just doing things for ourselves. Okay, anyway, Jimmy, some last words for us.
Michael Forthard rules.
That's right. Michael Forthard for life.
Here.
Yo.
Yeah. No. Thank you, Rob, for organizing this. And you know, every time we meet, we say the same thing. You know, like, oh, has it been that long already? You know, like it just, you know, I don't know whether I'm feeling a bit nostalgia every time we meet like this, and it just has a good vibe, good feeling about the whole thing. And I remember when we first started, we were still only just 4 of us. Was it just the Peter, Robin? Was it just 4 of us or 5 of us? I can't remember exactly.
I don't remember. I don't
I think it was 4 of us. Yeah, it was 4 of us.
Yeah. So I remember that, and then look, what he's grown into now is a bigger community. We've got more people now, and yeah, I think you've done a fantastic job of bringing this community together, and keeping it together. I think that's more precisely what I'm trying to say. You know, and it's easy to grow something, but it's harder to keep something. I think that, you know, you have done both, and so I'm really proud to be part of this whole community, and continue to do so. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the next one.
Oh, thank you so much, everyone. You know, like I said, I do this, and I always worry a little bit if you guys can make it back, because you guys are so busy and you work so hard for your viewers, and it's greatly appreciated, I know, by the community. And you know, it's an honor and privilege for me to have you guys come back every year, and I really appreciate it. And I do look forward to next year and many more that we can come together and you know, be okay, I have to stop because it's been going too long. But you guys know what I'm saying is I love having all of us together. It's not a competition with us, right? So when I remember starting in YouTube, I kept getting advice from different people saying, these are your competitors, you know, blah, blah, blah. And I said, it's not about that. This is a, you know, if you want to be successful, whether it's in your photography as an enthusiast or professionally, it's all about the people, right?
Yeah.
And what you can do for them. It's not what they can do for you. So that's why I do this, because you guys do so much for the community. And I love getting together every year. So thank you everyone again for being here. Stay on just for a couple minutes after I end the stream, but I want to thank the audience for being here. None of us would be here without you. You guys have been terrific with us, and like Marlene said, it's what keeps us here. You know, is this great relationship that we have with our viewers. And we wouldn't be here without you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing all of you again for the next 8 years. So you guys have a great day, a great week, a good life. Eat healthy, exercise, and I hope to see you guys all again soon.
Yay. Yeah, awesome.